Welcome back, everybody. My name is Alex Anthony, and today we're going to be doing Cut and Called episode number 6. We actually have another 16-hour stream that I'm going to try and get through. I'll do my best because I'm going to cut through it just like we did last time. We're going to go at 2x speed, and then we're going to skip through all the Bompak, Kukracha, all that stuff. This stream takes place directly one day after the last stream did. I'm trying to kind of go in chronological order and catch us up to where we are currently in real time. And so to do that, I'm going to have to go quick. So let's go quick. First hand, we're actually like 30 minutes into the stream, but this is the first hand that's actually picked up by the card reader. So we've got a whole bunch of nothing in here, but JJ for Supreme LA. I do not know who that is yet. They are to the left of Sticky Steve. So we'll look for them. That should be to David's left right now. The camera. Okay, so that's what we got. Supreme. That guy looks like he would be named Supreme for sure. Supreme versus Sticky. Sticky's got the turned OESD. Supreme did not see bet the flop. Interesting, right? Is that what I saw? He did not see bet the flop. Oh, I'm still on my sound. Sorry. Didn't. Oh yeah, raised the 45 pre. So straddle pot, and then I think it went just check on the flop. Believe. Then turn. He bets 50. Steve calls. Pretty standard. River is going to be a jack, tripping him up. He'll bet. Steve will fold, and that'll be that. Converge guarantee. So I'm gonna also like do my best to kind of skip through things like that, like smaller pots, and just when I know the outcome, we're just gonna go through it because once again, 16 hours. Last time we were able to cut it down to under 4, which I was actually super impressed by with my own work personally, because I feel like you get a lot of actual hands per hour when you're doing that kind of thing, you know. All right, so Steve raises up to $15, 3x. Come on, guys. Donovan with Jack 5 suit is going to call. Supreme's going to call. Grace is going to call. So we've got a turn bet from top pair decent kicker, and Ahmad is going to take it down. So of these players that I know right now, I would say maybe just like 2. I know Steve and I know Grace. They are husbando and wife. So they are always a pleasure to have in the poker room. But yeah, they're actually in this guy too in the black and red. I've seen him before, maybe played with him once, but I do not know his name and I do not know really anything about him. But his face at least looks familiar. Pretty much everybody else is an unknown to me right now. Grace is going to take down this hand with the 8 queen on the ace high board. Nice hand, Grace. Looks like a whole bunch of nutting out here. Callum in the hijack will raise to 20 bucks with the 84 suited. Supreme will call out of the third blind, getting a decent price with the king 9 suited. And Donovan, this is Donovan over here. They're going to overcall with the king 3 suited, and they flop pretty nice. Bottom pair with the flush draw. Although they don't know it, but their king is not an out for them, as it would give Supreme a better 2 pair, who is currently in the lead with the best hand, top pair, good kicker. He's not gonna. Yeah, no, I was like, for a second, it looked like he was gonna fold. I'm like, where are your cards going? All right, so he calls on the river. We're gonna go 4x, check, because no one wants to get beat by ace x or 6x. Nice hand to Supreme. It's always tough when you can't get there. Looks like we got a new player coming in seat number 3. Welcome, new player. That will be, looks like FC. Looks like FC is their name. All right, Callum is going to raise to 20 in the +1 position. Fold around to FC, who calls with the ace-4 offsuit, getting involved on the first hand. Picks up an overcard and a wheel draw. This looks like it's going to go check. Callum is in the 5 seat. Got it. That is Callum, and FC takes the lead with a turned middle pair. Callum now picks up a wheel draw, 2 overcards still. Going to float them 1 time. And FC was going to go for a little bit of value on the river. Wow, it's a very, not very thin, but it's like thinner than the average person. Like I think a lot of people would check there. Just I think a lot of people would check there. Really, and Callum's going to pay him off. Wow, Callum with the payoff. FC was dominated pre, turned him post, and he won. I got to assume that hand would have gone like check. Had the pair not hit, maybe Callum would have bet the turn when check 2, perhaps, since he picked up the wheel draw. But very nice hand from FC. Welcome to the table. Now they pick up an ace queen suited. Even better. Are they going to raise? What are they going to raise to? You never know if people are going to be tricky or not. So new player. All right, they raise and they raise big. FC 35 with the ace queen suited. Donovan now is going to flat them on. Wait, where's Donovan at? Aren't they to third direct right? I didn't see any cards in their hand though. Oh, so they messed it up. This is not Donovan. This is currently Supreme who's in the hand, and it goes bet. So it goes check and then bet fold on the turn. Nice hand. Nice 2 hands by FC. If they were playing the bounty game, they would be on 2 bounty alert after their first 2 hands at the table. So nice hand by FC. I thought this was a Bruce Lee game. Oh, public action. 2-3 public action. So they just did a public game all day. Got it. So Bruce must have started doing his game a little bit later. Maybe I'm just tripping. No, because he does this on Saturday and this is a Sunday game. I'm totally tripping. Yeah, so I didn't even know why they did this game. I guess just because they kind of had like the open slot. Normally on Sundays, they do high stakes PLO, which I guess I'll cover. I don't know, man. It's like, I don't know how many people are going to really relate to that. So maybe I'll skip those just to help me get caught up to current real time, especially when some of these streams are apparently going to go 16 hours. I didn't expect a lot of these streams to be going 16 hours when I mentally decided that I would like to do this kind of project. So this stuff is just going to be here. It'll be out here. If you guys want to see it, you can see it. If you don't, skip over it in my library. But I think that covering these streams is actually really cool and interesting just because live poker is, I wouldn't say difficult necessarily, but it's a bit of a mystery, with like how many hands just kind of don't get to showdown and how many people don't show when they don't have to, rightfully so. So you get a lot of just like incomplete information. You have to wonder a lot. Whereas when you get to watch a stream like this, especially a low limit stream, which is very similar to what we all play. I mean, call this, mid stakes, whatever, low stakes, mid stakes, whatever you want to call it, doesn't matter to me. But it's $200 to $800 buy-in, so and 2-3-5 blinds, so nothing like like $10 in the pot before the flop is dealt blind is not like nothing. I mean, if you were to play online, you would consider that at least mid stakes. But in live, the stakes, like the high to mid stake thing, kind of gets like a little bit dropped down. So if you want to consider this low stakes / small stakes, I wouldn't put it past you. But the main point of what I'm getting at is this is an opportunity to see hands that I'm sorry, Grace. Okay, no, they mess up the graphics again. FC on run with ace X, ace X, ace X. But yeah, a lot of times when you get to see like kind of all these hands and everything exposed, it's very, very high stakes. There are, especially this game right now, this is a public game. There's no, like I just said, there's no bounty going on. There's no, there's the bomb pop between every dealer change, but that's just standard, but there's no Cucaracha. There's no 7 deuce game going. There's no anything else to really make you think. And this is very similar to what a lot of people are going to be playing when they go to their local casino. So covering games like this specifically, I think has a huge value to the low stakes community because you're going to get to see a lot of poker really quickly. And like we've said many times before, the main reason why I choose to do this is because the Lucky Lady does not have a commentator on their stream. So if you want to watch their streams, you're going to have to do all this yourself. So I am absolutely trying to put out a product that you can kind of like half watch and mostly listen to. So thank you for being here and thank you for listening to the poker game. This was July 5th at the Lucky Lady Casino. Public game. I think this one must have started pretty early if I had to guess, or maybe it just goes very late into the night because it just goes for so long, 16 hours. So I have to assume it's like a, 1, 2, 3 o'clock p.m. start. Callum is going to bet with his bottom pair, take it down. I have to start being a little bit more aggressive in games like this with my weak bottom pairs because a lot of times a bet really does just take it down. A lot of times people play such garbage / such disconnected holdings that when you have like a Jack 6-5 flop and you have like 5-4, like the 5-4 is just the best hand so often. I will stab there like a lot of the time, but it's usually with like maybe my better bottom pairs and my middle pairs. Callum with the top pair, top kicker. Like just anecdotally while I'm like going through this, like yesterday I played a hand where it was like multi-way and I was going to overcall getting like, 6-1 or so with like my bottom pair, but I had like a really bad kicker and I just read that one person had a better bottom pair than I did. It was just a weird feeling. And it wasn't the person who I thought, but someone out there did actually have a better bottom pair and the pair did end up tripping. And I would have lost to them if the river card didn't like bring in a chop, but still I didn't want to put myself to lose to like, bottom pair, like face card kicker, but they had like bottom pair, middle card kicker. So, but it's still like, you just kind of have to know when to draw, when to speculate, Callum now on a little bit of a heater. Picked up QJ and rivered the nuts. All right. 7-way action. Jesus under the gun with an ace-3 suited. Who's Jesus? Call. Oh, is that seat? That's Jesus. Okay, that makes sense. Seat to the left of Callum. FC raised to 20. Jesus reluctantly called, it looked like. Oh, no, he just calls. All right, now he c-bets 20. And wait, he's going to fold the top pair? Wow. FC with the aggression. And Jesus, that's a very conservative play. Just going to fold the top pair to 1 bet. I know, monotone, but still. He just didn't want to face a turn bet. Supreme is going to raise to 25 with the ace-10 offsuit. Callum's going to call with 10-8 suited. One of my favorite holdings. Favorite speculative holding. Whoa, they have onion rings there? Bro, every day I see someone eat something that I did not know that this kitchen has. Yesterday, lady in the same seat was eating wings. They looked and smelled so good, bro. They looked so good. So come on down to the Lucky Lady where they have great food and, poker too. Yeah, you can play poker there, but great food. Absolute top tier restaurant. It really feels that way. It's a restaurant that you can just play poker at when you're playing in the gold room, and upstairs you get free food. 1 meal every 4 hours is actually a great deal. In addition to your $2 an hour on the comp card, which you can either use in the gift shop for more food, or you can cash out at a 50% ratio. So it's basically $1 an hour cash or $2 an hour spent inside the casino. So it's a pretty good value overall. It's another reason too why I like playing at the Lucky Lady. It's like one of the best rewards casinos in Los Angeles. Most of the casinos, your reward for playing there is you get to be inside the building. That's your benefit. That's your reward. Like, go to Hustler, don't even bother looking for a player card. All right, ace, queen, 10, 7, FC with the top pair, but Ahmad with the nuts. With the nizzles. Terrible river for Ahmad. It's going to save FC some moolah. Terrible river for Ahmad. Was not meant to be for you, unfortunately. That's how I like to look at it. Small pot for Sticky Steve. Take it down. Supreme Steve, both with a couple of Broadway hands. FC now with the 9-9 out of the straddle. Callum's going to min raise with the 75 suited. Callum's only going to call. Surprising. They've been like kind of aggressive so far. I would not have put it past him to go like 120 right there. With the 9 on the flop for Callum. Wow. So there's some big action right here. Sorry, for FC. 9 on the flop for FC. And turns the nuts for Sticky Steve. Sticky Steve turns the nuts with the king queen. That's why I was saying there's a lot of action on here, because there's gut shots, there's pairs, there's everything kind of going on, and you're only gonna call FC. Wow, FC's only gonna call. This could actually save him some money, bro. I would have raised 100%. I would have bet the flop. I would have raised. I would have done everything. I would have been all in by now, and I would have been getting stacked by Steve. Oh no. Sorry. Okay, so my bad. He did raise. Steve bet small, and FC did raise, and now Steve is gonna drop the hammer. Now Steve is gonna drop the hammer, and FC probably can't get away. It's a very difficult situation. I mean, realistically, King Queen is out there. Queen 8 is out there. 8-7 is out there. It's actually unbelievably conceivable for Steve to have a straight here. So you are calling to boat up here, and I don't actually. You might be getting close to the odds. Close. I think you're getting 10 times to about 20% to boat up. Close. I don't think you're getting the odds in this exact price. Steve 3 bets to 280 total, meaning the pot is now 672. 200 more to call. You're getting 3.5 to 1 on your money. In that instance, you need, if you're getting 3.5 to 1 on your money, and there's effectively no money behind $68. So like, just add that on top. Say you're getting like 4 to 1 on your money directly. 4 to 1 on your money means you have to win 25% of the time. In this instance, you're probably only going to win 20% of the time. If you put Steve on a straight 100% of the time here, or if you think he has a big draw, he doesn't lose 100% of the time either. So if his range here is biggest of draws and then straights, of which there are 48 combos, since we unblock none of them, it just sucks. It sucks. Like, I'm not saying you have to go around folding sets here, but it would be the right play in this instance. But I don't put it past people for like not giving up the best of their range. Although you do have to realize that like with 48 straights out there, and when I say 48 and you guys are like, what the hell are you talking about? Well, there's 16 combos of King Queen, there's 16 combos of Queen 8, there's 16 combos of 8-7. Limped pot, sorry, small, not limp pot, but like small raise pot, like straddle, and then like min raise, like that's pretty much as limpy as it can kind of get aside from like an actual limp pot. So people are going to call there with speculative holdings. You know, 8-7 offsuit is very in the range of someone like Sticky Steve. So there's no reason to think that someone wouldn't have all 48 combos, 16 times 3 of each, you know, straight holding. So I'm not going to fault him for getting it in here, but there's plenty of chances to not. Did he snap call? It looks like he snap called. Steve's not thrilled with that card. You go check. He said that's a bad river. It's like, bro, it's a whatever river for you. He's probably not calling 200 with you only have 70 behind with just a flush draw. So you probably can value bet him there. Tough hand for FC. He was on a roll. Even if he played the flop aggressively, like bet it or whatever, he probably wouldn't have gotten Steve off of his hand with the gut shot and 2 overcards. So that was almost destined to happen. It is just unavoidable at times. It is absolutely unavoidable at times. All right. Limped pot. Ahmad on the button only called with the King 10 offsuit. Very, very, very worth noting, because when you're against a player like that and you notice something like this, then when they do actually raise, their range is going to be so polar. They're going to have like maybe some random spaz. Like I gotta play some hands, you know, but then just the absolute best of hands. FC is going to lead out on the river. This might actually take it against a player like Ahmad. Yeah, it takes it, man. Third pair is not enough for them to want to call down. Now you kind of have to realize too in those spots, like, what is my opponent repping? Like, there's missed spades out there. It could be a queen. It's probably not a jack. And it's like that yesterday, where it's like, I'm like, oh, this guy's probably not value betting second pair on the river. I can call with my second pair. Yeah, the second pair better kicker. And I'm like, god dang. But normally people are not value betting their hands thin like that. Sticky Steve outflopped Supreme, or Supreme isn't even at the table, bro. Graphics are a little messed up. It's all good. All right, we have got FC with the 52. I don't think they're playing any side games today. Callum and Supreme both sharing the best hand with King 10 offsuit. Ahmad with the 98 suited. Grace is going to let the 80. I know she'll come along with the 87 offsuit. Makes sense out of the blind, although a lot of rake will get taken away in a limped pot. That's funny. Do they show I wonder if they show the rake getting taken out, like when it's the pot size, if it's the total size, or if it's total size plus rake itself. Grace with the ace king offsuit. What sizing will we choose, Gracie? Oh, Sticky Steve raises to 20. Is she gonna third bet him up? Squeeze him up? No squeeze on the hubby? FC is in the middle with 94 suited. Sticky Steve with the gutter 2 overs. Sorry, open ender with 2 overs. My bad, my bad. It's like a gut shot to the nuts and then an open ender overall. Sticky Steve picks up a flush draw. Picks up a flush draw while Grace picks up top pair, top kicker. We have some spousal violence at the table. Oh, what do you call it? Wait, there's no way. Where did Grace go? What happened? Oh, you know what? Okay, so this hand was messed up. This was not, because if you look at it, Grace isn't even in the hand. She must have had the maybe the no, not that she wouldn't have called with 9-4. Her hand must have been misread, and because right now she's not even in the pot. It's what's his name? It's FC with the Ace King probably. Yeah, something happened here, or maybe no. Now the Ace King's off the screen. This is a very weird hand. I'm sorry, guys. That's not my fault. I apologize. Maybe Steve had the Ace King. I don't know. Maybe Steve had the Ace King, and what's to call it? FC had the Jack 9 and missed. Was calling and missed. So apologies on the lucky lady's behalf for that one. All right, Jesus with the Ace 10 suited, presumably. Sticky Steve with the Ace 3 suited. Raise to 20. FC is going to call 20 with the King 7 offsuit. Kind of loose for them. Maybe they're a looser player and they just happen to be getting good hands initially. Although they did call open with Ace 4 offsuit the very first hand. So Jesus and Steve both flop top pairs. Jesus with the better kicker. FC's got nada, and Jesus is going to jam. I think that Steve called and lost. Steve calls and doubles up Jesus. Nice hand to Jesus. Sticky Steve with the King 10 offsuit. Grace with the Ace Queen suited. FC raised to 15, and Grace is going to throw it to 40. Pretty small 3-bet. I would like to see something a little bit bigger, but she does have a pretty small stack as well. So it's like actually kind of fine, honestly. Kind of fine. He said, "Who made it?" He looks at his wife. She laughs at that too. He said, "Who made it that?" He looks at her, knowing what that means, because Grace is not the loosest player in the world. I think everyone at the table, her included, would agree with that. She likes to play good cards and not get too out of line. Nice flop, nice hand. All right, dealer change, bomb pot, skip through it. Let's go. Card, Callum with the Ace Jack suited, Sticky Steve with a suited connector, JJ with a suited connector. Where's JJ at? Oh, that's a new person named JJ. There's multiple JJs, I suppose. But that looks like between Steve and Jesus, the new player. FC calls Callum's 3-bet. Wait. What? Is this? Let's see if these cards are accurate. Because it looks like FC raised, Callum 3-bet to 65 from 20. FC calls and then just open jams on a Jack 10-10 flop? What is? I gotta assume that these cards, unless a 10 hits on the river, no, he ain't gonna show. Yeah, we gotta. I guess that's probably the accurate holding. I guess. Now these what do you call it? These like we just saw, they can be inaccurate at times, but that's really weird. Really weird. But you see really weird stuff. FC is a player who we've not seen before. A lot of times people who are kind of like one-timers who are around here and there can have random tendencies. Like JJ with the Ace 10 offsuit is going to raise. FC with the 4-4 is going to call. They're playing a new 300 stack, and they're going to hit bottom set versus top pair, top kicker. That's probably going to be a double up. So FC only calls on the flop? There's no way, bro. On that board. Hold on. So dude raised pre. C-bets that board 30. He bet 35 right on the flop. He C-bet 35. Bro, you got it. That's such a huge C-bet. People only really do that with good hands. You got a really, really good hand, and it's a draw heavy board. You gotta raise their FC. All right. Anyway, continuing. FC gets a miracle turn brick, which is amazing for them because they wanna. Okay, there you go. Now he jams it in the middle. And JJ's drawn dead. That's it. And JJ's drawn dead. Nice hand, FC. I mean, do that on the flop though, man. You risked it all by letting a bad turn card come off. Jack, Queen, King, connecting middle card, club. A lot of reasons why homie would maybe not want to just felt on the turn. I know you guys only have 300, but still, he probably is always going to felt on the turn, right? So it probably doesn't really matter, but still, though. All right, small holding here. FC's going to bet out with a little bit of nothing. JJ with the best holding, and he's going to bet again. Is that FC guy just like a little wild child? See a little wild child up in here? Call like that King 3 suited hand was a little crazy just to open jam. I mean, he's clearly just bluffing if that was his actual hand. All he had was one overcard backdoor flush draw. All right, we're gonna go 2 ways. Heads up to the flop. Callum and FC. FC is a name we've been saying a lot today. Callum is going to lead out. FC is going to call with their bottom pair. Very standard on a Jack 5 board. I'm sorry. What happened? Oh, flush draw. Did he check raise? 15 and call, and then he bets big on the turn, but we don't get to see the turn. It looks like a king of hearts or something. Or was it a diamond? We'll never know. It's all good. But FC didn't call. We don't have stats, it looks like, yet. Like, kind of going back this far, like, they haven't started doing the VPIP and everything. Yeah, I know they have the RFID, but if, like, I had to guess right now, I would say that FC is at just, like, a massive, massive VPIP. Come on, y'all, give me some graphics to work with. All right, raise, re-raise, FC takes down. 60 with the ace-4 offsuit, JJ with the ace-8 offsuit, and FC with the ace-7 offsuit. Naturally, you would expect an ace to hit on the flop. Somehow it doesn't, but Steve with the best pair. There's the ace. Okay, yeah, I just wanted to wait one turn just so Steve could catch up. All right, beautiful. Steve, JJ now bets, and then Steve only calls. I really don't like that, Steve. I know you're sticky, but bro, you got to be aggressive sticky too, man. You got to raise that up, bet, and then call and get on the river. Take it down. Even like a small raise, like make it go, bump it up to 100. People don't like folding top pair, man. People don't like folding their gut shots. People don't like folding their flush draws. So maybe go from like 40 to 100 at least with your top and bottom. It just is unlikely that anyone else has a decent hand. All right, Steve's gonna raise it up with the unknown holding. FC and Gracie will both call. Sorry, Grace. I hope it's okay if I call you Gracie. I of course mean that endearingly. She's a very nice lady, and I love her jacket. So, and these are all people that I played with many times. Not all of them really. It's just Steve and Grace. And actually, now that I look at it, I definitely have played with Jesus at least once or twice before. I know I've seen him up top in the other room. All right. Looks like Ahmad will be bowing out. GG, sir. Have a good rest of your day. Thank you for playing at the Lucky Lady Casino, located in, is it Gardena? I don't know, bro. It's just like, if you're in the SoCal area, I've been meaning to say this more, but if you're in the SoCal area, come down to the Lucky Lady, everybody. This is such a great place to play. I mean, like, you get literally everyone's welcome. That's how I got down and started kind of getting onto this thing myself. This week I've played on this. This will be my 4th day this week playing on the stream game. I played on Monday, Wednesday. Yesterday was Friday. Today is Saturday that I'm recording. And I'm going to be playing again sorry, I'm doing this literally before it's 1 hour before I have to leave right now. And I'm trying to get as much, content done as possible. So 4 days that I am blessed to play, and the public game for Monday and Friday is always like available to people, so get on the list, come down here, come play. This is a great place to play. I think you should have a lot more a lot more people coming out and trying this place for the first time. It's not the biggest place, it's not the most populated card room, but that's the best thing about it, is you kind of like get to know everybody. The stakes are still good enough. They don't run these games every day, so like it is not going to be your main number one casino if you are someone who likes to play a lot. But if you only like to play once a week, come on down on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then Monday is another public day game, so you can get in on the action on stream as well. So I've been really enjoying it, and shout out to the Lucky Lady. All right, looks like a couple of offsuit aces here. Grace with the 97 suited, gonna complete, and we are gonna go 5 ways in a limped pot. King high board, Callum with a top pair, no kicker, gonna bet out and probably take it, although there was a bottom pair now, but they folded. That's gonna be it for the most part. Oh no, I'm sorry. FC did float with his overpair. Sorry, it's his 2 middling overcards, like not like actual overcards, but over to the small cards, and he had a gut shot to the 5 as well. But a second barrel on top and bottom pair will take it down for Callum, although he probably would have just bet with the top pair on the turn anyway. All right, this first stream is only this first part is only 2 hours long. Then we have an 11-hour part and then like another 3-hour part. So we're gonna get through this first part really quickly, and then I'll see you guys after my stream game tonight. Sticky Steve is in here with the 6-6, turning a boat on the 8 high board. Wow. Although there's nothing really for him to get. Oh my god. FC has this. I said nothing, and I didn't even see that it gives FC the straight, bro. It gives FC the straight. He's gonna get coolered again by Steve. Oh my god. He's gonna get coolered again by Steve. And he jam. Why would you jam? FC's out. FC's like, man, fuck this. He's like, I'm out. FC said, GG, no thank you. Nice hand, Sticky Steve. All right, straddled pot, 3 ways, jack high board, Supreme with, sorry, not Supreme, whoever is in the 2-seat now. I forget what his name was because they're messing the names up at the moment, but yeah, Supreme looks like they're not even at the table anymore. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stacks of chips currently, so we're at a bit of a lull. This might be why the action stops and they reset, because maybe they just kind of like ran out of people for a moment and waited until they filled up again. So it's weird for them to cut it after only 2 hours. All right, we got a whole bunch of nothing. We're pretty much done with this recording, so I will see you guys very soon. It'll be a second for y'all. And we are back with a new video and like a new lineup too, it looks like. So I believe we are going to just kind of like jump right into, like, this is the bulk of the video. Here, let me kind of restart at the very beginning. I believe it looks like Grace races on the button to 90 and Mom is UTG. Oh, I guess they didn't straddle. I'm not sure. They probably limped first in. and they are going to put in the call. This is mom's favorite hand, so that is not totally surprising. Let's see. And did he flip one of his cards? He flips the 5. Interesting. And Grace flops a boat, and she is going to wisely check behind. Oh my God! So she wisely checked. Look, what crazy action to start off with. She wisely checks behind, and then mom now potentially has like a great bluffing opportunity, you know, to make it seem like he's bluffing with just the 5, but he actually has it. But little does he know that she actually has it, because he probably puts her on like overpair or something. Wow, so she only calls, which is interesting. I mean, I would just jam Grace. If you ever watch my videos, just jam here. Because if the draw comes in, it's bad for 2 reasons. There's like 2 things. If it comes in and he might fold something, and if it doesn't come in, what was I gonna say? Like, he might not call off, or he might not bet off the rest of his stack. So just like get it all in while the equity is still there. Yes, mom, we see that. That's funny. He just said chat. You see that? That's so funny, bro. He thought he was trapping. He really did, but instead he was doubling up. All right. So let me actually, my bad. I have not had this one set to 2xp, but that's fine because we're gonna start skipping through everybody. So we still got some of the same cast from before. We've got Grace, we've got Steve, but now we have addition. I believe seat looks like what is her? Okay, Paul. Yeah, Paul here to the right of Steve, I believe, is a new player. And then to the right of Paul, I've played with her several times before. She's a very sweet lady. I just forget her name. So I'm just going to need the stream to kind of update and show me that. YouTube lowered my quality down to 480p. Is that okay? I think that's okay. I'm looking at it. It looks okay. It helps me go faster, so I apologize if this quality is like too low, but don't worry, I got you guys. Steve here with ace on the river, facing a bet from Paul, who's got a mystery hand and a pretty small stack behind. He bet 150 with 244 behind on a jack 8 king 5 with a possible flush queen on the river. Steve holding a lone pair of aces, effectively a bluff catcher. Will they stick around being Sticky Steve? Will they make the call? He will potentially think about it for a while, so we're gonna start skipping ahead. Wow, what are these seconds? These are 5 seconds. Okay, cool. So that's only 15 seconds. So I guess my wager would be he calls because he is in fact Sticky Steve. Yo, he's got the calling chips in hand already, bro. Those are going in the pot, guaranteed. And what does Paul have? What does he show? Can we see king and jack, top 2 pair on the flop? Top 2 pair on the flop. Did we see pre-flop action there? I'm so sorry. I want to go back. Did we see pre-flop? I don't think we saw. For some reason, I feel like it skipped pre-flop action there. Unless I'm tripping. No, I guess I'm tripping. So I think that was a Paul raised to 20, Steve 3-bet to 60 pre. So like a little small. All right, pre-flop here. My apologies. Everyone has mediocre holdings. Paul's going to raise on the button to, I was going to say 5, to 15 to 3x. His stack is not updated yet. He's got quite a bit more than 229. And looks like no one's really got much of anything here. Steve with a pair of 8s is kind of the nuts. Mom actually has a decent sized draw now that I look at it. I did not notice that at first. He's got the spades, gut shot, overcard. It's a pretty big situation. A lot of hands you can hit, a lot of cards you can hit. Wow, quick bet on the river. And Steve, river's 2 pair, and there's no way he's folding. So he just kind of like, he just bet into it. It is what it is. If Steve has, say, king 8, or if the river is a king, much harder call down. I'm not saying Steve doesn't make it, but I'm just saying it's not a snap call, obviously. So it's just kind of unfortunate for mom's solid aggressive play to run into such a strong rivered holding. Raising 235 from out of the SB. I don't believe there's a straddle on this hand, so that's a nice little 7BB open. But mom prefers the chunkier opens from what I've noticed. Paul with their call. Anyone calling here? We're playing poker? What's going on here? I feel like the graphics are a little bit messed up at the moment. All right. 5-handed action. Nancy. That's her name. Nancy. Very nice lady. All right. So we've got... This is kind of like a bit of a... little friendly, little battly kind of a dynamic right now. Steve is going to open up to 10. Was that a 10 BB open that I saw? What did Steve open to before the flop? Let me see real quick. Yeah, I think it's a 10. He just opened to $50 and everyone called. But then we went to the flop so quickly that I was like, was that a flop bet or not? So Grace now turning 2 pair. Mom with the 52 again. Paul with the unknown cards. Grace going to bet her 2 pair on the turn. Flush out there, but everyone folds. So we'll assume Paul had nada. Yeah, some of these pots escalate pretty quickly. We've got a few limps, and a few limps and a check. I see overcard for Nancy. She's going to call a bet from Mom, who's got a gutter. Sticky Steve in there with a slightly better gutter, looking for Mom 7. Mom's going to bet on the turn. Steve is going to probably call with his combo draw type situation. If Mom bets on the river here, he will certainly take it down, but it's a tough situation. Wow. And does Mom just give up? Wow, the one time Mom gives up with 7 high, and he would have won, and he loses to 8 high. It's like that sometimes, my friend. It is like that sometimes. Mom is, like, from the first time that I saw Mom to now, it's just, like, such a different opinion, you know? So, like, it's kind of interesting given that I've played with these players and gotten to watch them and, like, do this whole thing. So, like, what I would really say, like, if I'm going to give, like, a generalization right now is, like, the first time I saw Mom, I thought they were, like, pretty, like, solid, like, a pretty solid reg who was just, like, hitting a bunch of hands. Like, that's just what it, because the first, like, 5-10 hours I saw them, they were running super hot. And after playing with them and after seeing, like, you know, even more of their footage, it's like they are an incredibly loose regular, like, not your standard regular, incredibly loose, very good at hand reading post flop, and they've adapted very well to, like, all the little side games that go on as well, you know, like the bounty game, the 7 deuce, the this and that. So they are very fun to watch and very dynamic. So, like, and when I said earlier that this is, like, more of, like, a chill, kind of, like, lax environment, they being Mom are, like, allowing it to be, you know, like, they could be raising big, going crazy, making this a very difficult environment for everyone to play. But he can tell, I believe, from this perspective, that this is, like, just more of, like, a chill kind of casual crowd at the moment, and he just wants to play chill kind of casual. So it's very interesting watching someone like them play. They are very good, and they have a lot more modes than I had initially expected. A lot more modes. So shout out to Mom. They're a very interesting player to play with, to watch, and to be able to commentate on when we make these videos. Steve with the UTG straddle. Got a few callers out there. Mom with the 760. Paul's got the offsuit king. Steve's going to check it with the better offsuit king. And Jack 6. Mom flops best. He's going to stab with his... It's kind of like... I don't want to call it bottom pair, but I don't want to call it middle pair, but it's kind of like... I guess it's bottom pair technically, but it kind of has like a middle pair vibe to it, which is why I didn't want to call it bottom pair initially. All right, so Mom with the straddle now. I was going to say, let's see if we can keep this going, but I do not foresee Grace and Nancy putting the straddle on. Well, Nancy only has like $60, so it's kind of tough for her to, you know, put in 1/6 of her stack blind. All right. Steve and Mom in with quality holdings, and they both actually connect, so we might see a little bit of action here. Middle pair versus bottom pair. Both are going to try to, you know, can we like see the hand, the board? I guess not. All good. We see the pot get shipped to Mom, probably. The camera's not changing. Producer's on break, everybody. It's all good. All right, so we got a... This can't be a strat. Okay, 1, 2, 3. What is going on here? Hold on. I want to see pre-flop, bro. All right, well, I'm just going to skip ahead until I can verify what the hell's actually going on. Yeah, there are some hands going on right now, but maybe the producer stepped out for a bit, but I need to know, like, what the board is to actually commentate on the hand. So I'm just going to skip forward until we're back in the mix fully. Okay, I believe we are back. We've got Mom Steve raising the button to 25 with 83-0. Mom's going to call out of the SB with Jack 2 suited, Grace with 76 suited, 8-6-3 rainbow. Okay, I thought we were back. I'm sorry. So it looks like Steve's going to bet and then take it down. Grace doesn't even want to peel 1. She doesn't even want to peel 1 against hubby. All good. All right, sorry guys. Yeah, I'm trying to keep up with the action as best as possible, but they do have like one person running the show back there very often. So when they have to step out or do whatever, then, you know, we might have a few hands get missed in the mix, but it doesn't look like a ton of stuff is going to get glossed over. Paul's got a jack, takes it down. Second pair. Straddle. Nancy's going to call with the king deuce suited. Paul's still not scanning his cards. Steve is going to call. Mom's going to call. Queen jack for Grace, hitting top pair with the queen 10 of hearts, 3 of clubs. And Nancy has the hearts, and she's gonna call Grace's $30 bet. She could have just jammed with her 37 remaining, but it's kind of negligible. Is Nancy gonna be a bet when she hits type player? She's gonna bet when she hits. It is a very common attribute. I mean, it doesn't really matter. $37 into 100 and whatever. Once or twice doesn't matter because you are drawn dead. Grace, I am sorry, my friend. If you had the king, then you. Oh, sorry, yeah. If you had the cards change, like maybe she had the queen and you had the king, you had a chance. But nope. As played, that is that. So GG's to Nancy. Get a little double up there. It's always tough when you're in those spots and you like kind of let your stack dwindle, and then you get an actual decent hand to go all in with, and you don't like win like that much because you've kind of like waited for so long. That's why reloading is so good / powerful / important. If you're trying to like kind of like maximize your time, it's not even like about the profit, but I mean, if you want to get the most out of your time, you really want to try to make as much as you can in those little situations. So mom's gonna raise with 35. Nancy's gonna defend with the A7 suited. Love it, Nancy. Go get him. Go get him. Oh boy, mom out flops terribly. She's gonna check fold. It's fine. She's gonna check fold. It's all good. $20. Wow, really trying to get her, huh? You're really trying to get this sweet old lady. I'm just kidding, bro. I'm just kidding. Good bet. Good bet. Because if she hits an ace on the river, I guess you could still win, maybe, like in her opinion. But yeah, it's a tough spot. He got her. Nice value bets. Nice value bets. He probably put her on either exactly that or a small pair, you know, that kind of just lines up like a 3s, 4s, 5s. All right, Paul with the 9-9. Didn't say he raised? I'm sorry, I thought it said he raised. I'm confused because now the graphics are not reading properly. Yeah, I don't think he's overbetting the pot right here, but he's going to c-bet. And then mom's got the top pair, but this this Paul gentleman's been kind of like tight so far. Mom does not care. Never mind. I'm sorry. I lied. All right. It looks like a check and then react. Is he betting? Is Paul betting? Yeah, Paul bets 140, 130, something like that. 150. And mom's going to look him up again. Wow. Not respecting him whatsoever. Putting him on maybe overcard. Oh, and mom gets there on the river. Check, 8-7. No extra value. I'm not sure if leading the river there is a good play. Because I don't know, from mom's perspective, I don't know if he thinks that Paul is barreling there. Like if he is snap calling because not snap calling because I am playing 2x speed. But I don't know if he's calling there because he thinks his hand is good. Or if because he's just like playing his kind of like MDF a little bit, you know, like my hand's like kind of too good for me to fold. Like I do have 5 outs if I am behind type deal. And he does have enough like overcards, diamonds, this and that in his range that I can just be straight good right now. And then he's now using those overcards, diamonds, this and that to go for like a check call and or check raise. Probably a check call if the bet's big enough. Check raise versus like a small tiny bet. But there is merit to just leading the river yourself and representing missed diamonds, missed whatever kind of draw that was out there. I didn't really see the straightening cards. I kind of forget to name an exact holding that you can rep. But I'm sure there's something other than just diamonds as the check caller in that range that you can represent. And you do have an aggressive, you know, image overall, and you could get calls from like maybe those Jack X hands that might want to check back, pocket 10s, pocket 9s, maybe even like a tight. Sometimes people even check back like queen, queen, king, king, ace, ace there because they're kind of like bad at value betting, you know, but they're also bad at folding. So if someone is bad at value betting and bad at folding, then you definitely want to lead right there. It's just an option worth considering. I'm just curious exactly how mom perceived their range exactly, if they thought it was more bluffs and this and that, or if they thought that it was genuinely like something that would just bet the river and they could call. But yeah, I've been into donking a little bit more recently. I feel like it's got its merits versus, I mean, bro, I probably went like years without donking in some spots, like without save, like for the flop for sure. And then the turn probably too, like maybe like just the river, like I would consider it on like some spots where like I really thought someone would fold, or sorry, really thought someone would call, would check back. I apologize if I checked to them, but I wanted to call type deal. And that's like the only time I'd really like use that tool. So like I was very unbalanced in it and all that. Let's see. Bob is coming in. Shout out to Vanessa helping everybody. She is so great. Always doing like the little things, cleaning up the room, getting people their chips and this and that. She is such a vital asset to these streams. So shout out to Vanessa. She's kind of like the hostess that's like usually there. Sometimes Andrew is there as well, like helping out with the stream game. Sometimes Hannah is there if like, you know, it's not, if neither of them are available, but it's usually Vanessa, Andrew, or Hannah. So shout out to those 3. They are awesome. They are the ones that really keep the engine flowing. Like everyone plays like a vital role. Like the producer has their part, the dealer has their part, but they are on the mic communicating with all of them just as well, just as much, making sure that everything is, you know, flowing perfectly. Like when the dealer calls for service or for chips or for this or for that, it's usually one of those 3 people getting the stuff. So shout out to the staff at the Lucky Lady. It is one of the reasons why it is such a great place to play at, because everyone there is just like chill. You know, like they vet everyone pretty good. It's a dope place to be. It's a very dope place to be if you are in the SoCal area. Look up the Lucky Lady Casino. It is probably not far from, if you're in the LA region, I'll say, if you're in the LA region, I think it's Gardena, California, check it out. Love it there. You can be on streams like this as a public game. There are several public games. So like shout out to Bob who just sat down in seat 7. I don't know his name. We'll get it on the you know, on the readout, but I've basically played with this entire crew of people many times, but mostly upstairs in the other room doing like either 2-3 or the double board bomb pot game. These are the types of people who you would find in all this. So it's good to see them chilling on I believe this is a Sunday public game, the rare Sunday public game, because now, or for the last several weeks, Sunday has been taken up by the big stakes PLO games. So this is a very rare second 16-hour stream following the first 16-hour stream that we did previous day, which I think we'll keep doing, but I don't know if we can keep doing. These are very, 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 very taxing and very difficult to actually do the entire stream for some of these. So I might have to like cut some of them out of the rotation and just maybe focus on some of the ones that I've played a little more, and just so I can actually get like a little bit extra value of that. Like I don't want to forget my hands entirely and then review them and be like, oh yeah, I don't really remember why I did that, but I did it. I probably won't forget too much. What's going on here? Flush? No flush? I think Bob thought he might have had a flush or something. I don't know. Hard to tell. Hard to tell. All right. Sunny. Is that Sunny in the 7th? Okay, cool. I never knew what his name was, but he's a very nice guy. So what was the open size? Sunny raised to 20 with the JTS. Paul calls on the button. Mom is going to 3-bet to 85 with my favorite speculative hand of 10-8 suited. I mean, not really speculative. More of just a standard poker hand. I guess speculative you could say would be like, you know, like Jack 5 suited or something. But 10-8 suited is like a little too connected to be speculative, I guess. But my favorite like non-premium, I guess you could say. That's the best way to word it. My favorite non-premium, 10-8 suited. So Mom with the ace high flop is actually not a bad spot for a continuation bet. But he's going to check and then let Paul seal it with a 5-4 offsuit? Is that what just happened? Is that really what just happened? Okay. I mean, sometimes these cards don't get read right, but it looks like Paul might be in a battly mood, if that's what we're looking at here. Check, check. Yeah, Mom definitely could have bet there with his 7 kind of gut shot, heart, backdoor. It's a single ace high flop, which is very nice for the 3-betters range, but I completely understand why he wouldn't want to, given that he's up against 2 ranges that probably contain a lot of ace-x holdings. 2 players that probably have a lot of ace-x. He just doesn't want to, you know, start barreling on a board that is going to be really hard, if not impossible, to get people to fold on. So it makes total sense. We got a raise from 60 Steve on the button to 25 over a Paul call and a Nancy limp. So we go 5 ways to the flop. Mom outflops everybody with the king, queen, offsuit, queen, 4 deuce, rainbow board. You get a fold from, I think it said his name was Bacala? I've only ever known him as Bob, but I'll try to read that name again and call him by that. Steve is contemplating for some reason. I'm not sure why. He got led into 5 ways and he has ace, jack, I don't know about this one here. I was ready to start skipping through, and now Mom is going to continue betting on the turn because why wouldn't he? We're gonna go like 150 and 125. What is Steve thinking about here? Okay, yeah, I mean, that flop call was very sticky. I mean, there's sticky Steve, and then there's sticky Steve, and that was extra sticky. So we've got Paul raise 25, Steve with the same hand again with the ace jack, and now he connects. Unfortunate for him because Paul connected a little bit harder with the ace queen offsuit. Mom came along on the button with the 75 suited. He does have backdoor spade and straight draw, kind of similar to the hand that he just 3-bet with. You know, he flops like a very similar kind of backdoor equity, but he's not really getting that great of a price. You know, like Paul bet $100, which is a pretty sizable amount. Now, if he just keeps barreling Paul, then he's going to probably get a pretty big chunk of Steve's chips here. And keep at 160. Yeah, Steve's not folding here. I'll just skip ahead here so we can go to the river. There is 0.0% chance that Steve ever folds the ace-jack offsuit here. He folded? Good for him. Proving me wrong, Sticky Steve. Proving me wrong. That's a little... Now, but y'all tell me, like, isn't that a little wild? He floated the last hand. He got donked into 5 ways by... albeit an aggressive player, but, you know, he had barely nothing, and he floated $100 bet, basically, or whatever the size was. Very large bet. And this one, he doesn't call the double barrel with top pair. Really pretty good kicker, you know. I mean, he's only losing to ace queen at that point. Literally ace queen, because ace king was already beating him, and now ace queen or ace king is reduced. I guess he's now losing the 3 combos of pocket kings that exist, but still, like, kind of a short order there. You know, not a lot of kings around. So for him to just like outwardly fold that is very, very surprising from a player like 60 Steve. He does get up immediately after. So maybe there was an overriding force that was preventing him from focusing on that hand. Maybe there's a phone call, maybe there's something else, but yeah, he got up really quickly too. So very interesting spot. Apologies if you guys can hear my phone going off. I have to have it on loud right now because I got a delivery that's coming today, so I don't want to miss that. It's like Grace raised and took it down. What did they have his name as? Bacala? Bobby Bacala? All right, Paul still not scanning his cards. It's hit or miss, bro, if he's gonna scan his cards or not. And you can tell too, like based on like how he where he keeps them out, like in front, like that's just like where he gets them and he never pulls them back to the scanner. So bet on the flop. Mom's gonna float and get there on the river with a nice little boat ski. Nice little boat ski, but it looks like Paul had nada. I mean, we don't really need to see the card scanner for that. All right, Bacala with a nice little queen jack suited, gonna open up to 25. Sonny's gonna call on the button with the queen 10 of the other red suit, very similar holding. Paul has the 5-4 suited, and he hits very nicely. Mom with the a6 offsuit also hits very nicely with the 6-5 deuce rainbow board. Now, king of diamonds on the turn gives Sonny technically the nut flush draw. Ace of diamonds on the river would be the nut flush. So Sonny, it says he's going to push for $50. Is that all he has? I don't believe so. I don't believe this graphic is accurate. I think Sonny probably has more behind, if I had to guess. Paul called. Oh no, he is all in. My bad. He is all in. Who hit? And it looks like Paul connected. It doesn't really matter. Basically, Sonny didn't hit, you know, but Paul did improve the trips on the river. But yes, G, nice hand to Paul. They are on a little bit of a roll. We are going to switch dealers, and I will skip forward. Only bomb pot today, no Kukuracha, because it is a public game. But yeah, we're skipping through bomb pots today. Actually, I'm going to be skipping through bomb pots for the foreseeable future until they get the bomb pot graphics a little bit better. It's just hard for me to keep up. All right, Bacala call. Sonny's going to call. Interesting. Paul is going to... Sorry. Oh my god, this is wild. I didn't even see Mom had aces. I just was focused on Sonny calling with the 5, and I was like, okay, then Paul called, Steve calls, Mom raises the 55 out of the BB with ace. Hold on a second. This can't be accurate. Did Paul... That can't be accurate. I mean, maybe it is. I don't know. It just said Sonny limp folded Jack to Mom's 55 raise, which is like some of the most insane thing I've ever seen in my life, because A, he was right in the moment, but B, you can never fold against Mom there. You can never fold Jack. I mean, he must be one of these players who, if this is accurately... You know, the RFID didn't mess up, and then like these were the cards, then Sonny must simply be a superstitious player who's like, I'm not playing jacks, I'm not losing with jacks, that's why they didn't raise, and they just folded when someone raised big. They said, I've lost with jacks too many times, I'm not playing jacks. Like, that's just like their theory, their logic. I mean, some players have that type of like, you know, attitude and energy to them. And in this instance, it saved them quite a bit of money. But no, you can never fold jacks there, especially against Mom. I mean, you can't really fold jacks there in general, against an unknown. The only person you can fold jacks there to, I guess, is like against like the tightest players in the world. The people who only open huge with like aces, kings, aces, kings, ace king. And that's maybe not even ace king, maybe just the aces and kings. Like if you think they're that tight, because I guess when you play live poker, you do come across some anomalies that are just like so drastically specific. You know, if you think back to the old 90s and early 2000s, and there were so many characters in poker: Texas Dolly, Amarillo Slim, the Unabomber, the Magician, the Poker Brat, Hit Poker. It was like almost like theater in a way, you know? And when you play live, you get a lot of these characters, or caricatures, you could even say, of like a random persona, just like a random attitude, a random energy that they may not be able to give off other places in life. And therefore, they just kind of like are a player type. They are a specific mold that they fit into. So in those instances, I guess you can fold the jacks, you know, if you're up against like the player type that really allows you to. Because online, it's just a lot harder to ever really pick up those vibes, you know, especially on a site like Club Dub, where we're very limited on the stats that we have overall. And I only reference Club Dub too because it's the site that I think is the best to play on in terms of if you want to. I like Club Dub the most because of all my options, it represents live poker the most, and I'm most interested in the live poker type setting. The online poker setting of like super solid games and like people are raising, it's like, the either low ante or no ante, 100 BB buy-in, 2 BB to 2.5 BB opens, solid tight, GTO ranges that are being used very frequently. It's like that is super uninteresting to me. Whereas when you play live, just straight at the gate, people play way further from theory. I would say the number one thing that you will see from a theory differential would be just like raise sizes and ranges that people choose. There's just no world in which the ranges that most people choose and the sizes that go with it are quote unquote solver approved. There are most people basically, I would say this, they raise too big and they raise too many hands if you're trying to compare it to what the, bot would do. But the big difference is though, in live poker, you have so much more to work with. So it's like the first time where I've ever kind of thought to myself that running it twice here just to see what they get. Wow, 5 on the river and ace on the first one, so it's gonna be a chop. But it's the first time that I've really kind of figured, based on all this extra information that we get, timing, sizing, physical reads, just the way that people are, like you can kind of gauge their energy a little more. It's just so hard to word, but you can almost make some pre-flop and maybe even flop moves that like you would never make online, that are just like completely theoretically unoptimal, like calling oversized raises with under quality hands, maybe even like cold calling small 3-bets. Things like calling small flop bets with like really very little. And then on turns and rivers, when people play like more face up, you can then play even more exploitably and applies a lot of pressure. I've seen a lot of really solid players on these streams doing things like that. And like they've done it so many times to the point where now I'm like, okay, well, this just has to be like a style that works. Because the first few times that you see someone open to like 8, 10, 15 BB with like some random hand, you're like, there's no way this player is winning. But some people just like react to it really, really poorly and let people get away with some like really crazy stuff. I admit I'm absolutely a person who does not have the proper reaction when someone starts putting in crazy raises and crazy bets like very, very frequently, because a lot of times I do want to have at least a little type of a holding to like look them up. But if you never get any cards, then you kind of just like get run over all night. So it's like learning the spots where you have to like more loosely take a stand that I am now trying to work harder on in getting into my arsenal. Nice hand by Sticky Steve with the King. Sorry about not covering the action totally and talking a little bit more about myself and adding a little bit of, like kind of just like poker general thoughts into the mix. I mean, I don't really get a ton of time to talk about poker, so hopefully you guys won't mind if I take some of these smaller pots and use it as a chance to just like chat a little bit as well. I really love covering the game in every action, but I want to, mix it up here and there. It does get a little bit monotonous. Just say right here, what do we got? We got call, and like this is only 6.5 because I guess the BB is up to 10 right now, but this is a pretty big open. So we got from the straddle, mom's going to open queen 9 suited. This is definitely like not something that you would see out of soft, like this is absolutely a check most of the time, but because they think they can apply pressure and because they're accurate, they're right, like they're a very solid player, for them raising 6.5 BB is very solid. And the thing is too, even though it's a straddled pot and it is only a 6.5x open, the average person is still going to look at it as like a very big open, like a big size. They're going to play a little bit more honest post flop. That filter kind of thing that we talk about, where once you over inflate the pot, people just tend to play a little bit more honest, and like their raises are more honest, their call downs are a little bit more honest, their timing and sizing is a little bit more honest. That can happen through a medium-sized raise in a straddle pot, just the same way that you would do it in an oversized raise in a non-straddle pot, is because once again, people are not going ratio-wise. They're not looking at an SPR. They're not looking at the dead money in the pot pre-flop. They're simply looking at the dollar amount that it is to them to call right now. And if that is a bigger number than they're used to calling, like, I mean, for that last hand, gentleman had $500 stack, I believe, and mom makes it $60 pre-flop. It's over 10% of your stack, or like somewhere in that general range. So like you kind of have to make a pretty quote unquote big decision in that moment, because that hand right there, depending on how it goes, just kind of folding the flop doesn't really make as big of a difference, but that could be your hand of the night. That could be your one big all-in. That could be a hand that you try to bluff on. That could be a hand that you try to pick off a bluff. It could be a hand where you get coolered, where you cooler somebody else. So you kind of have to play those a little bit more cautiously. Paul raises, Steve calls on the button. We got a little bit of cutoff and button action here. Paul with the ace king, Steve with the weaker ace. 10, 10, 9 with a flush draw. Steve with the backdoor hearts. And he picks up a heart, actually. Paul's going to check his cards, realizing that he doesn't actually have one. He looks now, he looks reluctantly. That's an interesting little kind of tell/read, where they looked at their cards, they looked reluctant, and then they didn't bet. But Steve is not going to take him up on the offer. Steve probably could have bet that turn, Loki. Probably could have bet that turn. Like, that's a really nice spot to apply a lot of pressure for two reasons. One, if your opponent comes back over the top of you, you might be dead to 10-9-9-9. You're like not even that like sad giving up the nut flush, where a lot of times when you get check raised on the turn, you're like, shit, bro, I do not want to fold my hand if it's if it's to the nuts. Whereas right there, your ace high flush is not to the nuts. So, and you can also apply pressure to ace king, ace queen, king queen, queen jack. I mean, he's probably not going to fold, but maybe if he has no heart, like in his hand, not like, you know, theoretically or not figuratively speaking, but literally in his poker holding, if he has no suit of the heart, then he may just fold a hand like that. He may also fold if he has a hand like 8-8, 7-7, 6-6. So a nice like kind of pot size like 100 like B100, B125 is a very nice pressure move, and then you can just check back the river when he calls, and you're probably just gonna be beat. Honestly, it's like a one street type bluff for the most part. All right, we've got Grace here with the middle pair, Mom with the top pair, Bacalao with the open enders. Not gonna look anybody up. He just kind of says hell no with this. Mom ends up winning. Nice hand. Yeah, Mom definitely wins their fair percentage of pots. That is absolutely true. And then some. Sonny's gonna check with the 7-7. I guess that's fair. It's kind of like a small pair to raise out of there, but you could clean up some of the field. It's just like a very hard hand to play post flop when you do not actually flop your set. Although you do get to represent all like the big cards and such. So like it's not terrible. It's an interesting situation. I ran a bluff with 5-5 the other day, where I was like, yeah, this hand kind of like, sure, it unblocks all the bigger cards out there, but like this board in this situation like hits my range more than it hits the caller's range, so like I should be able to get it through. It did not work, but it was like, sometimes the hand like itself is a little bit less important than the way that the board comes out, I feel like. Like I call by fourth pair, if anyone's curious. Fourth pair. It's just something about me. Grace is going to raise with the ace-queen offsuit. To be like, I mean, we're being fair and balanced to every player here, but low-key Grace is like a super tight player. Super tight. So when Grace raises, people typically give quite a bit of respect. She is the definitive, like, solid, not going to lose to most people, and is going to probably like chip up slowly and consistently. She's honestly just like a slightly tighter version of me, Loki. She's like a slightly tighter version of me. I play like a few more hands than her. You know, I'm obviously, I always joke that I am the nittiest of nits, and I'm not the nittiest of nits, but I just do run naturally more closer to theory. You know, I'll just put it that way, closer to theory. So when you get into some of these live environments, it is that are so far away from theory. It's very I'm trying to think of the right word. Nancy here with the overpair. Mom with the middle pair. Steve gonna fold his bottom pair, I believe. But yeah, it's just hard for me to... It's like a culture shock. It's like a culture shock. That's really what it is. I have played closing in on 2 million hands of poker in my life, and of those 2 million hands, I would wager that 1 point... no, let me put it this way. In terms of percentage, 95% of those hands have been played online. About 95% of those hands have been played online. So, and even though I've played for hundreds, if not now 1,000+ hours in casino poker, I don't actually know if I've crossed 1,000 hours in casino poker yet. I actually do not know. That one is a little bit. That's a close one for me, but it's getting there. So if that goes to show where I'm at, I'm still really trying to find my footing in a lot of these areas. So when you see me on future streams, just know that I am doing my best. I am doing my absolute best. Paul, somehow, I think his cards are actually in the box this time. Maybe his box is just like not working right, because I think he actually is doing the right thing this time. Maybe I was just ripping on him a little too much earlier. So Paul raised, Mom flatted with the premium 3-deuce offsuit. Grace reluctantly called with king 10 offsuit. And Jack 5 deuce rainbow, 7 on the turn brings in a flush draw, 4 on the river. Mom with the bottom pair. Paul's gonna take a stab ski. Kind of looks like a little bit of like a 7 stab to me. 7 or a 5. He said you're good, king high. He said you're good, king high. Nice hand to Mom. So yeah, I just always assume someone's got a little something, honestly. All right, we've got a few playable hands around. Mom with the ace jack suited, Grace with the 44, Paul with the broken sensor. So it looks like folder on to Mom, who's going to raise to his patented 55 out of the BB. See, it's very difficult to have 11 BB defending ranges in a world where you just don't really know exactly what your opponent is doing it with in real time. Grace is going to flat with the 44. Mom's going to check, and I think Grace is reaching for betting chips here, which I like. Get him, girl. No, she checks back. She checks back. 8-8-9 flop. Wow, ace, can't talk. Club draw on the turn for Mom, and he checks again? Wow, showing, showing mercy, I would say, because he could have put out a big bet there and put her in a tough situation. So, interesting check by Mom. I wonder if he was just trying to be kind right there, because knowing him, that's a really solid spot for him to bet and apply a lot of pressure. Dealer change. We're going to skip through the bomb pot as we do. All right. Shout out to Brian in the box. Let's get some action going. We've got nada. All right. Sonny, you are the BB. Let's go. Or he calls. I'm sorry. Steve is going to raise to 55 now with Queen Jack offsuit. Crazy. Grace is going to flat with 32 suited. What the hell's going on here? What in the hell is going on here? Are you guys colluding? This is not the standard Grace play. This is not a standard Grace play. Like, I don't know if they're trying to, like, get somebody else in the pot, low-key, but, like, the very weird play. Okay, see, that makes way more sense. That makes way more sense. So, like, I didn't mean to say what I said off of, like, anything nefarious, but if Grace is genuinely calling their 3-deuce suited, that's weird, just, like, based on her play. But it looks like neither of these hands were read properly. It looks like one person had King Jack suited, one person had 9-9, which makes way more sense. Makes way more sense. Let's see who had what. We'll see where the pocket shift. I think Grace had the... Okay, no, Steve had... So Grace had King Jack suited. No, Grace had 9-9. Grace had 9-9. Yeah, that makes sense. Makes a ton of sense. But the card reader did not pick up there properly. But yeah, at first I'm like, if you're calling with a hand like that, that just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Like, that is, as we've just said moments ago, like, that is not really a Grace hand to call with. So I would have been a little suspicious, but it looks like the card reader here, or card readers here, are similar to my online to live poker experience. They're about 95% accurate, we'll say, maybe even a little bit less, maybe even more like 85 to 90% accurate. So what I get to work with on this screen right here is not always going to be the actual facts of the matter. I truly do apologize for that. We do the best that we can here with our unaffiliated Lucky Lady Live production. This is an FPG production, free poker giveaway, brought to you by yours truly, Alex Anthony. I have no actual affiliation with the Lucky Lady Casino, aside from being a media pass holder. I guess that's my one affiliation, technically. Like, I'm in their books for that, but I'm not an employee, I guess is like my main way to put it. I'm not affiliated with DGAF in his production of this stream whatsoever. I am simply here to cut it up and carve it. Right, call, a whole bunch of nonsense in the mix. 7 high flop, a whole bunch of nonsense here. Bacala with the top pair. Mom's gonna bet with the open ender. Nancy's got a little piece of the action. All right, going to the turn. Now we got a little bit more defined here. It looks like Bacala's still in the lead. Nancy picks up an open ender now with her kind of like fourth pair. Mom is gonna bluff the river queen. Will Bacala look him up? Get him, bro. I mean, that's a tough board to fold on, given like what he is holding. Oh, he looks him up. He said, heck nah. Mom gives him the UG, the Your Gucci. Did what's his name not even show his hand? I think Mom legitimately said you're good, and Bobby didn't even show his cards. Which, like, you don't have to when someone mucks in front of you, but it is like kind of nicer etiquette to just be like, yeah, here you go. This is what I called you with. Especially when it's a relatively standard hand like second pair that was only second pair because the river was a queen, and the queen is not like... How many Queen X hands are in Mom's range right there? We'll put it that way. Mom straddling with the ace. Great time to straddle, bro. See, this is why Mom is good. He chooses the best times to straddle. Bacala is going to raise to 30 with the king queen offsuit. Mom's going to 3-bet to 150. CKC called them in between, so there's a 5x 3-bet. But there's plenty of money in the pot to warrant it. Mom is a very aggressive player, and he looks like he doesn't have a big stack behind. He's got like about 600-700 behind. So they're probably gonna play a decent sized spot here. So wow, is Steve gonna call or is he gonna jam? Bacala folded his king queen offsuit. Very smart fold. Did Steve jam? No, he called. He goes check on the flop. Turn is gonna probably go check bet. Mom's gonna probably throw out a little 120 feeler here. No, 200, little chunkier than I was expecting here. He goes B66 or so when I was expecting more like a B33 type action. Is Steve really gonna stick around just because it's Mom? Putting him on ace king, ace queen, king queen, hoping? I guess it's possible. It's Mom. It's absolutely possible. I'm just surprised, like, if he called there, I would have been really surprised, like, where he calls the ace jack versus Mom, but folds the ace jack to Paul. But then if he then called 5-5 right there versus Mom, it would have really just shown an overall, not like disrespect, but just awareness for the aggression that Mom is able to dish out, and an unwillingness to simply fold under that kind of pressure. And I absolutely respect that. He's not like sticking around sticky style. He's just more like, I don't want this guy to run me over type play. So I get why he's like kind of thinking right there. I totally get it. If that was the river, I think he would have called him a lot of the time. But because it's still one street left to play, he's got to fade cards and fade big bets. It's a reasonable fold. Getting around to this river here, everyone's got a little bit of something here. Sicky Steve's got the pair with the flush draw. Bacalau's got the pair with the no draw. Sonny's all in already with the mystery hand. And they're going 2 times from this point. Sonny with the king and queen. Bacala can feel a little better. He was not going to win that anyway with that hand. All right, we got everyone's in. Grace is going to raise it up to 35 with the queen jack offsuit. Get him, Grace. Love it. As a very solid raise. Good hand. Steve's going to give some action on the button with the jack 9 offsuit. That is completely in line. Grace hits the top pair and good kicker, and Bets takes it down. All right, Mom has the KJO, Grace with the A7 offsuit, Bacala with the 74 suited, and Paul with the 10-9 suited. The 109. So Mom raises to 40. Paul's going to look him up. We've got a top pair, middle pair situation. Mom checks at him. Interesting. I think Mom wants an ace to turn because it's the only thing that can possibly happen. Wow, with the 4, they miss. Like, that's the other pointy card. I just say that because whenever I check with the king on the flop, like, ace always turns. So Mom's going to bet river, take it down. Paul doesn't want to look him up any further. Very fair. Right, Grace with the 4-4. Bacala with the ace jack suited. Mom with the 77 is going to raise it up to 30, 25? It's 25. Sonny, who's for some reason cards aren't scanned. It's not like, I don't know if that's Sonny's fault necessarily. Maybe he's only putting one of them on the scanner and not both of them. But yeah, both cards have to touch the scanner, so maybe that's what it is because they're clearly both in the box. But most people keep the cards on top of each other and they don't like spread them out a little bit. Like that's really what you do to get them to scan. So we checked around to the river here. Looks like no one's got anything except Mom just prefers a boat casually. Bacala is going to take a little stab at it and is going to get shoved on in his face. And by shoved on, I mean, what you call it? Just clicked back, really. Interesting stab there from Bob. I would not have put him on a stab if I was like playing with him in real time. I would have thought that he had actually something. Players like Mom can be a bit infectious to the table in terms of like once they start going like aggressive and betting a lot and pushing the action, that type of energy can be contagious to the next player, to the players around them. Like they might make moves that they don't normally make, and they might expect things. It might be like a little monkey see, monkey do type action. Like, I saw this guy do it, I'm going to do it. I don't want to get bluffed here. I don't want to be the only one not bluffing. I'm going to do it. Whereas everyone has their own style, but I feel like some people are a little bit more susceptible to riding the waves, and other people just kind of like are not like rocks in terms of like they don't play any hands, but I mean rocks in terms of like they don't let the other players affect their game plan as much. All right, whole bunch of nothing here. Yeah, now Sonny's cards are not scanning. Interesting. Steve with the top pair, good kicker. Nancy with the combo draw, gut shot, and 7 high flush draw. Paul with the open ender. Sonny with at least a little something, and Paul with the 6, 7 to the 10 straight right now. He's gonna put out a pretty big bet. Steve with the now second pair is going to let it go. He had a gut shot to go with it, but very tall order. Nancy has a really big draw, and she probably doesn't want to call or fold. So she's going to probably call. Wow, she does fold. Okay. All in to call for Sonny. Paul bets 106. That's not what Paul bet. Paul bet like 130. I don't know why it says 106. Oh, because I guess that's what Sonny has left at the moment. I understand. You could easily see Nancy calling there with her hand. Her hand is it has a lot of equity. It's very hard to be behind there. I think the only hands that you can be behind there, like maybe the nut flush with a different pair, right? Yeah. Like say like the nut flush with like ace 8 of diamonds is like the only hand that you're truly crushed by. So you usually have your equity to call there. Straddle by Mom. Looks like we're gonna get a raise from Sonny out of the cutoff to Min with the ace jack suited. Bacala called between them. Paul's gonna call. Steve's gonna call the 75 off from the BB. Mom is gonna 3-bet with 85 offsuit to 140. A pretty sizable 3-bet. And Sonny and Mom are going to go all in. Sonny did not have much behind, and Sonny will take the first board. Looking pretty good on the second board, and we'll scoop. And Sonny scoops. Limp pot here. No one's got anything. We're just going to keep skipping through. New player in. once again, this is just like I was saying earlier, another person who I played many times with, but I don't know their name, and it's only been like in the upper part room area. So shout out to new player. Is their name, is that Peter who's on the screen? Because I have not seen that name come up before. The third blind for Peter. Good to know, like Peter and Sunny, because these are people that I played with many times before, but I never knew their names. Peter is a pretty aggressive player, pretty loose player. If I had to like just kind of give a general insight, like we'll expect to see them in a fair bit of pots. They're gonna splash around for sure, and they're the kind of person who might put on like a big move or two. Like I haven't seen them on stream ever, so I genuinely don't really know a whole lot about their game. It's just more like the vibes that I've gotten from playing with them. But currently they're applying the pressure right now with the second pair, which you really love to see on this board here. Nancy has a huge draw. She's not gonna fold it this time. All right, going to the river, and we've got a brick out for Nancy. Peter's in here with the 98 offsuit. He's hitting big hands straight out the rip. And I don't believe Nancy's going to look him up here, but I've been wrong about a lot of things so far, especially these more medium plays. Yeah, I did not expect a look up, but if she did, I wouldn't have been totally shocked, I guess, like to put him on like king, queen, ace, king kind of like hand. But yeah, it's just a tough board, especially when the 8 gets here. Like a lot of draws complete, a lot of hands get 2 pairs, set of 8s. Queen 10 gets there, like the obvious straight draw. Like it could just straight up be Jack X, Queen, queen. Actually, I guess he'd call pre-flop, so maybe it's Jack X, King Jack. $45 from raising to 9BB out of the SB. This actually is kind of solver approved, Loki, but it's just like, it's a little big. It's a little big, but it's like, that's like that difference between live and online is you're going to get some of these oversized raises with wider hands than you'd normally expect. And even if that's not like, quote unquote, exactly like I said, solver approved, it's not really important. It's more important how everyone reacts to you. Like if no one's going to apply enough pressure to you to make that move not worth it for you, then the move becomes worth it for you, and you can kind of do whatever you want in a way. So watch mom take advantage of that kind of vibe / dynamic as they do the exact same thing. They just raised to, I'm sorry, did they raise to 35 with, is it call? He raised to 7BB, and Sunny just limp folds the ace-9 offsuit from first position. Just because mom wants to apply pressure, like their hands were kind of like close in terms of ranking, but Sunny just didn't want to risk that he was beat by a worse ace or face bigger bets from mom in the future. Paul's going to call from first position. Peter's going to flat. Grace out of the SB is going to come along 5 ways, a whole bunch of nonsense. Big board, and Paul's the only one who's got any little bit of it. If he bets, he's going to take it down. Peter bet on the with the 5 high. Peter actually could win this hand if he applies the aggression. Did he bet again? I think he might have. Oh no, Paul bet the turn. Excuse me, Paul bet the turn. But yeah, just because that 4 of a straight came out there was a door, a window of opportunity for him to actually come through there. All right, Peter with the 10-10. Bacala with the ace-jack offsuit. Peter's going to open up to 40. Is that an 8x open? That is indeed an 8x open. Exact same thing that we've been talking about most of the day. And I'm sorry, did Bacala fold on the button? If that's accurate, okay. Maybe not accurate, maybe accurate. No comment either way. Mom's going to straddle. Peter is going to flat out of the +1 with the queen 5 suited. Sunny on the button with the 65 suited. Paul 67 offsuit. Sticky Steve with the 42-0. And Nancy with the king jack off, flopping top 2 pair on a king jack 7 2-tone board. No one else really had. Oh, I'm sorry. Peter with the flush draw. Peter with the flush draw, betting 45 now. Nancy gets to decide what she want to do. Is she going to call or raise? She only calls, and now she's going to jam the turn. A little stop and go action. Okay. But she bets pretty small. Really nice bet size, actually. Although she maybe could have gotten it all in. Check river now so he can bet, and then you can call him off. She checks. Peter checks back, I believe. And yeah, okay. He was deliberating. He checked back. I think he realized that he just doesn't. That's not enough money effective for him to bluff it off, but that's another reason why she may want to just jam it in on the turn, or maybe bet like closer to all in, because there's not going to be a chance to get more money in on brick rivers. Skipping through the bomb pot, only in the box now. Right, full table-ish action, 8-handed, and 8 mediocre hands. Queen Jack and Queen 10 being the best in the mix. 8-6 offsuit, not doing too bad. Or sorry, 8-6 suit, I should say, from Sunny. King 4-3 flop, whole bunch of misses all around. They're not even going to show the cards. Queen 10, I can tell you now, though, turns an open-ended straight draw, so they could easily bet and take this pot down if they have the willingness. But it says Steve had that, but Steve has no cards. So I'm going to go with either something got misread or whatever. Either way, next hand. Zay. Who is Zay? New player? New player Zay. Oh, we got call, raise from Steve to the with Queen 10 again. Okay, there we go. Zay in seat 7. Peter calls and Zay calls the Queen 5 suited. Zay getting right into the mix there with a $200 stack, and they flop a flush draw, Queen high flush draw on the King 7-6 flush draw board. Peter with the top pair is going to bet out for 90. Huge bet. Zay said, yep, this is what I'm here for. Let me hit them hearts. Let me double up, and let me make this stream experience worth it. Peter's going to check. Zay is going to check. Steve's going to check, and he's going to get a free river here. Wow. Peter now Rivers trips, and he's going to bet it out again. And Zay is going to fold. Sicky Steve is going to fold. Is what it is. GG. Nice hand to Peter. Getting involved with King 8 offsuit netted him a pretty sizable hand. Zay has been kind of crippled already. As soon as he gets here, 1 second, guys. BRB. Sorry about that, everybody. My Amazon package came, so now I can turn my phone on mute, and you guys don't have to listen to these annoying sounds anymore. Getting back into it real quick. I am going to take a slight break in a second, but I wanted to do this last couple hands here another few more hands, I should say. We had Steve with the Ace King offsuit. Looks like the only real hand here. They're going to raise up kind of small over a bunch of limps. They're going to probably go, 6 ways to a Queen 6-5 flop. Who hits that? I guess there's a 7-5 out there. 4 deuce I saw, right? 4 deuce for Paul is going to turn a straight. And Steve, for some reason, has got chips in his hand over Paul's bet. I'm not really sure what he's doing here. This is the second time versus Paul that he's had not versus Paul. The second time he's had overcards, and he kind of looked like he really wanted to call. First time he did with the ace jack, I guess. It wasn't even full overcards. Grace also with the 4-2. How do I not see these things? 4-2, jam, call, all ready to go. Good for them. Chop it up. That was good. All right. Zay with the $5 call. He is not looking too hot after a quick little entry. Hopefully our new friend to the table can turn it around. You got to reload, though. Usually, it's really hard to ride out a stack like that. We kind of were talking about earlier with Nancy when she had a really small stack. It's just tough to go from 50 to 100 to then 200 to 400. You just buy back in for 300-400, at least. So Zay went in with King Jack. Mom's going to give him action with the 5 deuce, his favorite hand. And scoop. It's going to be a big scoop action for Zay. They're up to $130. Maybe if they turn this around. I mean, all it takes is one hand, man. Really, because it's not the double ups, dude. They need a triple up, quadruple up. They need to go all in 4 or 5 ways and then win that. And then they can actually be back in the game. It's just a very tall order. Sonny is in for the 99. Zay with the 10-9 suited. They're just going to flat it. Wow. Okay, they are trying to gamble it up. Zay just calls and I only say wow. I mean, that is a big raise / bet, but that's their whole stack too. That's they just doubled up last hand too. So they're very clearly just trying to do they're going speed run route. Mom has the 8 high, and he's actually Zay might actually win in this and Zay turned the 10. He turned the 10. The first one is gonna go to Zay. The second one's gonna go to Sonny. That's ridiculous. Ridiculous. Wow. Sonny almost scooped that one. That is kind of wild. All right, Zay now with a 215 stack. Zay with a 215 stack. Steve is in there calling 25. Who raised? Peter raised to 30 with the 74 suited. Grace is gonna call. Steve is gonna call. Peter with the flush draw on the Queen 5 board. And Grace with a boat. Grace with a boat. Steve is out of the way. Turns the flush for Peter. There goes all his money. See you, bro. See you, bro. I mean, maybe he's not going to go broke because Grace is a tighter player, and he knows he's played with Grace a lot as well. But the only way that he doesn't go broke here is if Grace doesn't value bet him to death, because he's going to call. Cool. And now if she doesn't jam river, she has to bet 200 here, 300 here for him to not go completely broke. What size is she going to choose? If she goes all in, it's a really tough spot for him. I don't think he can get away, but maybe he gets away with. What are you doing, Grace? What are you doing? I'm not. No. She said he raised 45. Was she afraid of ace, queen, ace, ace? Oh, no, Grace. My heart goes out for the missed value. Forget the ace, Grace. Who cares? I told y'all she was a tight player. She checks back the boat, bro. There's no way. That's crazy, Grace. All right, one more hand because that one takes all my energy out. She checks back I'm thinking 300 or so. But then I figured all in was definitely a possible bet too. But back, unbelievable, bro. I love you, Grace, but you got to jam that river or bet a jam or a jamish amount. 60% of his stack. Wow, Zay with the trips. Nancy with the nut flush draw. Looks like 2 potential big hands in a row. If we get a club or if we get a Boat up card. This could be crazy. Or an ace or something. Has mom reset? Was he always at the seat? I forget. Maybe he was. Yeah, he was always in the seat. I'm done. He moves around the table a lot because sometimes I feel like he's in the 9 seat a lot. It's kind of like his preferred seat. Zay is. Wait. What in God's name is going on here? Paul bet 100 and Nancy folds the nut flush draw? I'm going to wager this is one of those 10-50% of the times that the cards ain't right because this just don't make no sense at all. I don't see Nancy just folding the flush draw right there. And ace 10 offsuit is not anything, bro. So maybe Paul's got the ace 3 clubs. Check on the turn. River check. Show it, Paul. Show it for me. No. Damn, I really would have liked to know. That's a weird one. All right, I got to take a quick little break. Grace checking back that boat. That knocked me off my socks. Knocked me off my socks. That's not a phrase, bro. Knocked my socks off. Knocked me off my rocker. Off my rocker. Knocked my socks off. There we go. I'm like, why did I say that? Like, what 2 phrases did I combine? All right, I'm including all that. I don't care. I'll see you guys. I'll be right back in this hand in a little bit. All right, next hand, we got Peter raising to 20 with the Jack 9 offsuit. Sonny is going to call on the button with the ace 10 off, but not a lot of money behind. Zay is built their stack up to $400, going to call with the ace 8 suited. And Nancy is in with the mystery hand, queen, deuce, and a 9 with a flush draw on the flop. But no one's got much of anything. Middle pair for Peter, who was the PFR, and they're going to bet, and I was going to say probably take it down, but Nancy's going to hook them up. So Nancy might have that top pair action. She is not the loosest player in the world. Peter is going to bet the turn now, bet 40, kind of a small, little bit of a probe protection type bet, but I don't think he's protecting himself. I think he's protecting Nancy more, because unless she's got just raw spades, she's probably got the best hand here, honestly. 75 from Peter on the end. And she did have a draw. Wow. Interesting. I assume he was betting for value the whole time. But like these are those hands that are kind of like just hard to tell, honestly. You would have to directly ask someone their intentions. So it says Peter called, but yeah, he's the +1. Oh, because mom did straddle. Mom straddled. So Peter did just limp first position. Grace is going to call. Zay is going to call. Paul with the ace king offsuit is going to make it 12 BB and take it down. Straddle again. Double straddle from Grace? Double straddle from Grace? Okay, let's go, Grace. Paul's going to raise to 100 on the button, and someone just jammed. Was that mom that jammed? That mom jammed with the Jack. Very nice play by mom, because that's going to get looked up by Paul almost always. Now Steve has to make his decision with his mystery hand, which we have no idea what it is. If he has overcards, he's in good shape. If he has an underpair, he is in bad shape. He might just straight up have like ace king, ace queen, ace jack. All right, what are we looking at here? Steve hasn't shown their hand yet, but Paul hit a 10 on the first board. Steve has what? Does he have 2 kings right there? No, he has king jack. King jack. I thought he had 2 kings for a second. Looks like king jack suited for Steve. And dealer change, bomb putt time. Skipping through. We've actually got a pretty decent game going at the moment. Pretty decent table composition. It was a little more static at first, but now there's a lot of dynamic players in the mix. So I think Zay put out a pretty sizable raise. It looked like the 35 to 40. Looks like 40. The graphics are not updating, but that's okay. King high flop for the king 10. Yeah, sorry, it's just really hard when these things don't update for me. So come on, lucky lady, hook it up for me. I'm doing my best to help y'all. I'm doing my best to promote the Lucky Lady stream. Help me help you. Zay with the king 10, and yeah, see, Grace isn't even in right now. Oh, she is in right now, I guess. I don't know, very hard to tell what's going on, so I'm sorry, guys, but I think, okay, basically, from what I can gather, and there's queen in the mix. I guess Zay had queen and not king 10, so I don't know, but it looks like they just got all in, and she had king jack and Zay had queen, I guess. I don't know, very hard to tell, I'm sorry. Anyway, next hand, so now Zay is back down to, is this a rebuy probably? Probably rebuy. He's going to jam with a 9-9. Sonny's got ace king suited, but only 111. Peter with the king. Wow. Some big hands that just happen to pop up all at once. This is the variant of poker, folks. They run it twice, and it looks like Kings is going to scoop. Sorry. Ace on one board. Sonny's going to get a little bit of one pot, and Zay is going to get scooped. Zay's out. GG. That was a quick come and go, but like that's just how the cards are sometimes. You need to come into games like this with either more buy-ins or just a combination of like bigger buy-ins and more buy-ins to actually stick around for a while, you know. Whereas a hand like 9-9 like then becomes like a call pre-flop and not just a jam, and you're not so reliant on winning a flip. Well, in this case, it was you're lucky if they got a flip. They had the bigger pair. All right, mom's going to raise 240. Sonny's got the ace king offsuit. They're going to jam it in their face. Kind of a shit spot for mom because like Sonny probably has either like, a pair bigger than your 9 or a bigger ace. So it's like you're kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. Well, actually, you're really just damned if you do. You could just fold, but mom does not like to fold. So you are just in not a good spot, really. Like when you don't like to fold, then I guess you are damned if you don't in that way because you feel like you missed some opportunity or something. I don't know, I guess. I think everyone hates to lose the money that they've already put into the pot, but that's always going to be a better choice than, just doubling somebody else up. All right, so we've got a whole bunch of mediocre holdings. Sonny is way in the lead quality-wise with a hand like 6-6, not necessarily equity-wise. And how do they have 0% equity? Who has what? Oh, because of the cards that are folded. Got it. All right. And mom with the flop top pair. Peter with the turn top pair now. Ace 5 offsuit takes the lead. Is Steve going to put on a bet? No. We're just going to check around to the river, right? Check around. Peter takes it. Nice hand. Mom's going to raise to 25. 0 straddle this hand, so it's a nice little 5x open with the ace 3 offsuit. Going to get 4 callers. Ace 7 4 flop. Grace in there at the 10-10 was like pretty much the best hand pre-flop. Sticky Steve's got the gutter ball. He may peel 1 given the name. Peter does peel 1 with the middle pair, but now if I should say mom goes for a double barrel, he'll probably fold. But the turn diamond slows mom down, and then the river nothing interesting is going to go just like probably check call because like I just don't, once again mom's just not going to fold here, not for 65. But he's not loving the situation either. Maybe he's considering some kind of play, but I think he's just like reluctantly calling, And once again for Peter, I don't know if that's a value bet or a bluff because 65 is such a small number that like genuinely don't know. Would have to ask him, All right, Peter's going to raise it up with the 4-2 offsuit. Couple of calls here. Bacala with the queen 8 suited. Mom with the jack 9 offsuit. Bottom pair for Peter. Going to bet 40 and take it down. Mom does not float with the backdoor straight draw and overcard. Mom now with the king queen offsuit is going to simply call. Very weird, like really, really weird to the point where like I would almost wager that this got misread. Hold on, it's like Peter bet this turn. Sticky Steve's probably going to fold. Let's see mom call, and let's get to the river. Steve calls that? Okay, so mom does raise the turn, so this may actually be accurate, but just like weird for them to not be aggressive with a hand like this pre-flop when they are often so aggressive before the flop. Perhaps they are trying to protect their calling range a little bit. Perhaps they just simply don't care, and they're just doing whatever feels, like their preference in the moment, and I'm thinking too deeply into it. But it's just a bit of an anomaly worth kind of noting. All right, we got limp from first position with Bacala with the ace-10 offsuit, could be a raise. Sonny with the king-jack offsuit could also be a raise. Paul with the king-jack offsuit could also be raised, and everyone's limping here. We've got a 7-way limped pot. 7 ways. Grace has got the best hand, ace-10 offsuit, and she's probably going to take it down if it looks accurate. Oh, wow. Mom did call with the bottom pair. Giving some extra action to Grace, perhaps, because I can't imagine... Oh, never mind. That was Bacala with the ace-10 offsuit. My bad. And I'm not really sure what mom was going for. Just the trying to hit, because I'm sure he put him on a strongish hand, betting the flop 7 ways. 30 into 35. Pretty much like full pot. Gonna be top pair almost always. Top pair plus. Sometimes people just want to try and hit their 5 card out or 5 out draw with the bottom pair, hit trips for 2 pair, sneaky 2 pair to try to stack the person's top pair. So I guess that can be what he's going for. We've got a turned second pair for mom. He's gonna probably bet. Oh, I was gonna say take it down, but I forgot. I didn't see Peter had the spades. They break the river and mom will win. Straddle from Paul with picking up ace king out of the straddle, bro. What a nice feeling. I think of the last like 80 straddles, bro. I don't think I picked up a hand as nice as ace king. Mom makes it, looks like 40, I want to say. It's going to go check a couple of streets, maybe even just check down. Mom's going to probably bet the river, though, right? They're not going to check down 10 high. They're going to check down 10 high? Interesting. Okay. People have their different modes, their different kind of gears, so to speak, but like limping the king queen offsuit and then not betting that river there with 10 high is very non-mom like. You would be hard pressed to see them doing that once kind of like their engine is revved up and they've been going. Right now the game's just like playing kind of small, playing kind of limp, playing kind of passive. So it's easy to get influenced by that. But Mom is such an action driving player that I would often suspect that's not why they're playing the way they're playing. They're just playing that way because they feel like it. I really am probably just thinking too much into it. It's just, I guess, even if I'm not like trying to analyze exactly why, but it's just interesting to note that it is, because players like that play super aggressively, it's interesting to see that they actually can have an off mode and that they aren't just always, foot to the gas pedal. Peter with the straddle now. Grace folds. Bacala doesn't know what's on him. Folds. Sunny folds. Paul's going to call. Mom's going to call. And Peter is going to check his option with the king 4 of spades. 10, 7, 5 rainbow board. Paul with the best hand, bottom pair. Mom turns top pair and is now going to take a little stab on the river. Try and get a little payoff. I don't think he's going to, because it's only up against 4th, 5th pair at this point. Grace is in the straddle position, but I'm going to wager that she won't. She is not a straddler. She's not the straddle type. Bacala's not the straddle type. Sunny's not really the straddle type either. But it's always nice when people are willing to participate in the straddles. For me, I need at least one other person at the table straddling. At least one other. When I'm the only person straddling, it just feels kind of like, I don't know how else to word it. Like I'm trying to play bigger pots. You guys are trying to play bigger pots? Although there are merits for not straddling as well if you want to simply keep the game smaller, keep the SPR smaller. There are a lot of instances, especially in this game is very interesting in that most 2-5 games don't play this big. This is this for some reason, the 2-3-5, I'll just put it this way, in most 2-5 games, 5-5 games, a $15 open, a $20 open is kind of the standard. In this game, you could open to 30 to 40 as your standard without the straddle on if you wanted to, and it's really not going to deter the action as much as you would expect. So you kind of should be playing as deep as possible and raising as big as possible, because it doesn't really turn the action off from what I've noticed. It's you can 2x your open raise size, and it may put on maybe a 0.8 multiplier for the hands that people play. It's not going to put on a 0.5 multiplier. It's not going to make people tighten up that much. So the reason why I bring that up is because when you put the straddle on, you're now trying to make the game bigger, but you don't necessarily need to make the game bigger to get those $40, $50 raises going pre-flop. You can just kind of straight up do it over a couple limps or over a single limp, and you will still get action versus a lot of players. Peter and Mom both with mid 10s, probably going to go bet call on the river, chop pot. Limp pot again. Or I'm sorry, is this a straddle pot? I don't know how this pot has $20 in it, but only 2 players. Looks like a bet from Peter. Mom's gonna call. Mom's saying it's definitely better than Peter's with the draw. Peter might just keep betting here. They're weird like that, bro. And once again, is it for value? Is it a bluff? Who knows? Who knows? This is the 3rd time that we've seen them bet like that. They're just a very aggressive river player, honestly. They just kind of merge their whole range together, and they let their opponent figure it out. So that time, it looked like it was a bluff, because when Mom called, Peter was ready to muck his hand. When Mom called, Peter was effectively ready to muck his hand. So that one, he perceived to be a bluff. Paul with the 10-10. Not a whole heck of a lot else out there. He's going to raise it up to 30. Mom might look him up with the 43 off. I'm sorry. What happened? What was pre? Okay, yeah, raise to 30. And then Mom and Peter both call. Big flop for Peter. Gut shot with the hearts. Mom hits the bottom pair with a gut shot. Kind of like Mom and Peter are sharing each other's outs. All bets 115, and Peter's going to jam it in there with his draw. It's a very big draw, and it's a very strong play. I actually like this a lot here because he is at his weak. It's the best combo draw to do this with because he's at his weakest showdown value wise. He only has 10 high, 0 pair to go with his situation, and he can apply max pressure. He can rep 6-4, he can rep 3-3, he can rep 5-5, 7-7, 7-5, 5-3, maybe even the rare 7-3, So there's going to be a lot more than just hearts and combo draws in his range, and when he's called, he still has a ton of equity. So there's actually a really, really nice play by Peter, and the perfect kind of hand to do it with, where sometimes when you have, say, ace high flush draw, you may be more inclined to call because you don't want to blow players with weaker draws out of the hand. If you hit on the turn, you could then just stack/cooler them. Plus the ace high does have some showdown value, whereas here the 10 high has 0 showdown value. I'm not saying that shoving the ace high would flush draw would be wrong here. I'm just saying that shoving the 10 high with the 6 to go with it is honestly peak. It's about as good as a hand as you can have to apply pressure with here. That's not in your value range. So very, very nice raise by Peter, putting a ton of pressure on Paul, as we can see. And he folds the 10-10. I don't think Mom is looking up here, bro. I think Mom is just going to be Hollywooding a little bit here. I mean, I could be surprised. I mean, I've been wrong a million times before by trying to make these calls on cut and called. He calls, dude. I'm so wrong. How am I so wrong? How am I so wrong? How am I so wrong, bro? That's crazy. And mom makes the call. Is he gonna? And hits the straight on the first run out. Wild call by mom. I don't know if they just wanted to gamble, if they put him on a decent hand, or what. Actually, crazy call, bro. And he doesn't hit it all. Does he not hit at all? Does Peter get stacked here? What a great play by Peter. And it doesn't pay out for him. And mom makes a ridiculous call. Like, I honestly don't even know what to say about that. Like, if what's his name? If Paul called, that would have made like sense. Mom calling is just him flat out saying, "You have a draw, and I call you." Like, that's just it. And even then, when he does have the draw, like, what were the odds? You know, like getting this in from this point right here, it's 50-50, bro. So like, you're not. I mean, yeah, you have the equity because the pot has money in it. But this is as good as it gets for you, basically. And you only have 50% equity. So imagine the times when he has like everything else, you know, everything else in his range. That is wild. But I guess like those other hands, he does still have some decent equity. Well, no, not really, dude. If he has if he has 7-5, if he has 5-5, if he has 6-4, 16 combos of 6-4 out there, bro. I mean, I guess only 4 of them are suited, but still. And he did raise pretty big pre-flop. I think it was 25. So wow, just crazy, crazy call, and crazy that he doesn't get there at all. The 6 doesn't bring it to him, and the 7 queen doesn't either. Wow, that's insane. Actually insane. And I really, really like that jam too from Peter. I thought that was like a really solid play, but you're not getting mom off his hand. Against players like that, you just have to value bet like as thin as possible, you know? Value bet as thin as possible. That is, wow. What's his name? That's going to tilt 2 people with that outcome. That's going to tilt Paul for making the wrong fold. Technically, they're going to, you know, they see it. They clearly don't feel great about it because if they called, then mom doesn't probably call, of course. But then, you know, they hold and they get there. / like they double up instead of, or like they stack Peter instead of mom stacking Peter. And of course, Peter's going to be tilted that he just didn't get there in either run out. You know, he had so much equity against mom's hand, and he, you know, the one board that he pairs his card on, that gives mom the straight. So it's like wild. The variance of poker is not to be underestimated. Mom with the straddle on the newly founded 1.7k stack. I'm sorry, Grace raised to 30? Blind? Maybe? Because she didn't look at her hand? Because that's a very loose open for Grace with the 10-6 offsuit. This is a reasonable raise with the ace-5 suited. 220 is probably going to take it down. Steve's got the 53 suited, so maybe Mom overcalls with ace-6 offsuit out of position. And middle pair for both players. Middle pair for both players. Probably going to go check from here if I had to guess. All right, limp pot. Sonny could have raised if he wanted to with the queen jack. It's a little bit weak, especially Paul on the what do you call it? Button too. Don't throw money to people, Steve. Throwing money to surface is like what's the word? It's degrading. I think people throw money to people to like try to be nice, but like walk it over to them. Don't throw money at people, guys, when you're tipping. And this is like a general from a former / you know, I could go back to serving / bartending at any time. But as someone who's worked in service for a long time, not currently working in service, tipping is great, but tip politely. All right, small pot. Mom takes it down. Looks like a little bit of a lull in the action. Oh, did Peter leave? Peter is gonzo. Yeah, so the tables kind of died down a little bit action-wise. We're kind of back to like where we were before. I don't remember who was in seat 7 last. I mean, did anyone fill it between Zay being there? I guess not. And I also don't remember who was in seat 1 last. Mom with the ace on the ace jack board. Wow. No action. That's always frustrating when you're a player of mom's capacity to like give action, to kind of like not be lucky enough to have anyone have even a little bit to give you any action back when you do flop a hand so big. Good small pot here. Grace on the river with an ace. Looks like she's going to bet against a couple of jacks. And is Steve going to pay off? All right, small hand, nice and Grace. Mom's going to straddle. I'm going to like skip through like extra kind of fast, just because like once again, 16-hour stream is a lot. Like when we get the big pots, we'll make sure that we pay attention. Like right here, like a 9-9. This is worth paying attention to. 9-9 open up to 20. Steve's going to call. Mom's going to 3-bet. Paul's going to snap call. Steve's out of the way. Ace high flop, king high flop. I'm sorry. It's always tough too when it's king high flop as the pre-flop caller, because like you're extra inclined to float, I would say, on the king versus the ace. And then mom's gonna put out a chunky bet on the river, and I don't think he gets paid. Yeah, it's easy to honestly to fold there as Paul, feeling like your opponent has a lot of kings in their range. They could easily be doing this with queen, jack, 10-10 as well. But mom is a very aggressive player, so that's going to always make you want to call. Bacala with the extremely passive, I wanted to say, passive open limp from under the gun. I kind of had a sense that they would limp there too. Players like this like to limp and then like snap defend. Like they don't like getting 3-bet so much that they're more happy to limp call and forego the pot being like single raised. They'll take 0 raise over three raises, over the third bet. So they just want to go to post flop with their like decently strong range. It goes check. So who won that one? Sorry. So mom bet and then won, looks like. Mom bet and then won, which is another inherent issue if you're going to play. So passively, you're going to get kind of bet off your hand a lot. Mom did have a huge draw, though, there with the gut shot, straight flush draw, it looked like. All right, 6-handed action. Bacala with KJO and the third blind. Sticky Steve with a 54 suited raise to $20, 4x on the button. Gonna get a call from Mom with the 64-0. Grace gonna call to 10-9-0, and Bacala will call with the King Jack. 8-3-4 Rainbow. We got a C-bet from Steve with the 54, and Mom's gonna call with the 64. Getting outkicked by 1 in this situation is just like actually hilarious. So the turn 8 makes it so that the only cards on the river that aren't gonna be a chop would be a 5, 6, 3, or deuce. And Steve's gonna actually bet Mom off his hand, weirdly enough. I guess the passivity of Sticky Steve, it's not aggressive Steve, it's Sticky Steve, was enough to make Mom feel like, he might just have an 8 here and I could be drawing dead or better kicker. So that's reasonable. It's also like hard for him to have a worse 4. Like 5-4, deuce 4 is like the only thing. Is he really raising the button with deuce 4? Probably not. 5-4 suit is probably that like one only hand. Whoa. We got some big action here. Mom is going to raise to 20, and Grace is going to put out the big 3-bet to 120, and I think Mom's going to probably let it go, bro. Like look at him hating to fold. He hates to fold. Did he say I'll call and we're going to run it down and we're going to check it down? Okay, because he knows it. I think that's a fair play, and Grace is smart to accept, because if she doesn't accept that offer, then she's probably getting 0 action. She's probably not going to get any action, so you might as well take the $100 worth of action over the $0 worth of action. So I agree with her play, but I mean, this probably should go without saying. It always feels weird for me to say things like this, because Mom is obviously a much better player than I am, and I'm just here looking from the sidelines. But obviously, that's a fold when you're Mom. But of course, they just like to gamble, and like they're here to do what they want to do. So I'm not criticizing them even remotely a little tiny bit. I actually have intense and extreme admiration for players like Mom, mainly because like I don't know how they do it. Like not even the aggression, but like I don't know how they have the energy for it. I don't know how they have the capacity to hold. Like they play for 10 plus hours regularly, 50 plus VPIP regularly, 55 plus 60 VPIP regularly. And it's like, bro, I just get tired. I get tired playing hands. So I do have quite a bit of reverence for players of their capabilities. I'm only telling you guys, you non-Mom player types out there who are seeing someone play so many hands so aggressively all the time, it is okay to just to fold there. It's all good. You are allowed to just fold your 6 high, your 6-3 suited when a very tight player puts in the 6x 3-bet on you. It's all good. All right, we've got completely nothing here. Literally, like everyone's got garbage except Bacala had the ace-5 suited to start, ace-7 suited from Sunny. Ooh, Sunny turns a nut flush draw, and Paul turns an open ender. So, and Steve does have a second pair now, so we can actually see a little bit of action here on this river. River 6 would be pretty big. Wow, River Jack is very big. Jack of spades. Paul's gonna lose some money here to Sunny. Backdoor spades too makes it much easier. Did Paul jam? Paul jam, Sunny snaps. Paul jam, Sunny snaps. Wow, backdoor spades coming in. Nice hand, Sunny. That sucks for Paul, bro. That really is tough, especially because the stacks are at such a depth that like folding is not an option, and not raising is also not an option. You basically have to lose the maximum there to a player that has like Sunny's $150, $200 stack, because there's just so many 2 pairs out there that they can call you with that it's like, just get the value. If they have a River Jack, they're probably not going to fold. Just get the value, and on the times that you're beat are the times that you're beat. But yeah, having that exact cooler card hit is always rough/frustrating. All right, we've got 3 ways. Mom with the KJO. Did he not raise again with such a nice hand? Very interesting, because like normally like Mom raises to like 45 or like 35 here with the King Jack offsuit. So like for him to just like call/complete is like super weird. Super weird. This is the second time we've seen him do it too. Last time was with the King Queen offsuit. Now Mom's with the 44. All right, let's see how this hand plays out. We got sorry, I keep it's going so fast. It's just raise call, bet call. I think that this thing skips forward a second, bro. Loki, wow, set over set. Paul turns Jack. Mom's gonna raise, Paul's gonna jam, and They're going to get it in, and they're going to run it twice, and Paul's going to scoop here. That is actually crazy. Yeah, obviously, all in, call. Wow, wow. So Mom has 2 chances to hit 1 out. Honestly, like, in that spot, right, doesn't it make the most sense to only go once? Because you literally physically cannot beat them twice. So, like, when you go twice, you are guaranteeing chop at best. I think in that instance, like, if you're ever going to be someone who decides, like, that makes the most sense. Like, when you're set over set it and you only have literally 1 out, go once because you can't beat them twice. So like, that's a very rare occurrence where I think going twice is actually like a literal mistake. Like normally it just like is like, what do you call it, like a variance thing. Whereas right there, that it feels like an actual mistake because if you hit your 4 on the first board, you're always going to lose the second board. So yeah, only run it once when you are undersetted. That would be my, because like I think that's fair too. Like the person's got like 96% equity, so it's like give me a chance to to really hit that 1 outer. Give me a chance. I don't know how to word it, but just like the energy that this player the C1 came in with, they look like a fun player, fun person, fun guy. They just kind of like came in. I know we're playing at 2x speed here, but they look like they brought some they're going to bring some good mojo to the game, some well-needed blood to the game. All right, we got is this a straddle hand? It looks like it's not straddled. Sticky Steve raises to 25. Perfect, you can tell from pot size. Mom's going to call with the KJO. This is crazy too, man, because like these are hands too that Mom sometimes 3-bets too a lot. So like very surprised to see like the way that Mom is playing at the moment. This is definitely passive Mom. Passive Mom for sure. They can be aggressive if they want. And it looks like we're going to go check down. Is the pair of 7's going to win from Paul? That's a nice what do you call it? That's a nice double up for Paul after they've missed that opportunity with the 10-10 before versus Peter. So very fortunate for them. It's always good to see someone get a nice streak of variance. All right, we got a raise from Mom. King Queen suited from the HJ. Sticky Steve, how sticky will he get? 65 off is kind of like is his type of hand. I can see him give him some action here. 65 off. Ace, 10, deuce. Mom's going to see bet small, take it down with the gut shot and backdoor royal flush draw. All right, 2-3-5, straddle to 10 by Mom with the 95-0. Akalaw's going to call with the King Jack offsuit. Son is going to call on the button with the 74 suited. Sticky Steve will call out of the BB with the A7 offsuit, and Paul will call with the 97 offsuit. 5 ways, King 9-3 rainbow. Looks like Mom and Paul both the 9, but Mom's going to turn 2 pair with the 95 on the 5 of hearts turn. But what's this new player's name? I'm sorry. Is it another Paul? Oh, we have 2 Pauls now. We got Paul and Paul 2 versus Mom. I thought the other Paul for a second when I first seen it. It's gonna go check, bet, probably fold if I had to guess. Well, hearts did brick out. Brand new to the table. You often do kind of want to like feel people out, and like I don't necessarily mind making a more speculative like bet or call or this or that like on your first kind of rounds in, just trying to like make sense of the situation, like try to get more of a feel for where you are, like get some showdowns, get some this, get some that. Like the more equity you realize, the more showdowns you see, the more clear the picture becomes. Brian back in the box. All right, we've got, this is gonna be confusing as hell now with 2 Pauls. I really wish that one of them was forced to like do it a slightly different name. All right, Paul 2 is going to Paul, and Mom is not going to raise the 7-7, bro. What am I seeing right now? Which Mom is this? This is Mom that played yesterday and maybe they're tired today, because we saw like they were on the last stream that we played or that we covered, and that was literally the day before this stream that we are covering right now, and that was a 16-hour stream. This is also a 16-hour stream. So maybe they're just tired today or something, but that's so weirdly passive. They're going to check back 7-7 in position. Like, what am I even covering at the moment? Very, very confused. Because when I play with Mom, they never play like that, bro. Ever. Sticky Steve's going to raise up King Jack, and Grace is going to fold her 52. Mom would not have folded the 52. That's his favorite hand. All right. Bunch of limps, 6 ways to the flop here. Ace high from Paul is going to be the best. It's still going to be the best on the flop, too, when they flop the wheel. Paul 1 flops the wheel. That is wild. And then it looks like we're getting no more big action. He could have charged on the turn. I don't know if he charged. Oh, because the ace hit the turn. Got it. But you still want to charge. I'm sorry, not the ace hit. Let me rephrase. The ace being a chop hits on the turn. 6 puts someone in the lead. I worded that terribly. I apologize. But he still could charge for diamonds. All right. Sticky Steve with the 9-9 going to raise it up to 25. Paul 2 is going to call with ace 2. Paul 1 is going to overcall with ace 5 offsuit. And the first one was suited. So we've got a jack 10-5 rainbow board. Steve's going to bet and take it down. Nice hand by Steve. Looks like mom is sitting out for a little bit. A well-deserved break from the hardest fighting player at the table. Paul number 1. Oh my gosh, it's Paul versus Paul. PvP violence. Paul versus Paul violence. Grace with the queen. 2 queens for the queen. How is she going to play him? Aggressively. She's not like a slow player, Loki. She's not a slow player. So Paul raises. She threw this to 25? I know she's not a slow player, but come on, girl. You got to get your sizes up better than that. Make it like 45. Make it like 45 minimum, you know? Because he made it 10, right? Yeah, make it like 50. 45, 50. And then what's his name? Paul comes back over the top because it's such a small 3-bet. And he's going to bet. No, she might fold. Damn, that's a rough spot. So, like, here's the thing about when people bet on the A-side board, they don't always have it, man. There's a lot of play that we've seen today. Take, like, Peter, for example, earlier. Like, just a lot of range merging. Like, not necessarily betting for value, not necessarily betting as a bluff, just betting because they have the betting lead. That's, like, really the main reason to it. And that's another reason also where if you had made a bigger raise pre-flop, Gracie Poo, then you would have gotten him to call you. Then he checks on this board. Then you can check back and then kind of read him on the turn. Or you can bet small yourself and try to like earn that free showdown, really. Because like once you bet on this flop, then he's going to be scared you have an ace the whole way through. So she is an excellent person, but I would love to see her clean up that play just a little bit. Great person, but only average in the skills department. And I'm only being honest here because I like these people. And it's no diss whatsoever. But Grace, if you see this is how you improve. Like literally like from today to tomorrow. All you do is like raise a little bit bigger pre. And like she would know this too. Like if I explained it to her, like she probably knows this and just didn't want to that hand for some reason. Like she's not dumb or bad. She just was willing to play suboptimally that hand for some reason. All right, 7-7 from Steve. Paul 2 is going to call with a king 10 offsuit, his $25 raise. 8 deuce deuce with a flush draw, backdoor flush draw for Paul. 2 overcards as well. So you can see he's going to see about the flop and take it down with the 2 pair. Gracie, are you chipping up or leaving for the day? It looks like leaving because she's got multiple racks. Yep, multiple racks. She is out. So excellent day/play by Grace. I mean, dang, she's cashing on a nice little chunk of change right there. That's a nice little 25 hundo stack, it looks like, or so. So very nice win from Grace. Yeah, I always like to see the players who are like obviously solid, like just clean it up a little bit. That's the only reason why I comment on her play whatsoever, because she's good and she could be great. Ace King didn't get there. Camera's all messed up. I'm not getting what I want. Can't even comment. All right, cool. 9 deuce offsuit's gonna win it. It looks like Paul 1 is going to take Grace's lucky chair, and she will bid the gold room adieu. We've got 6-way action here. 8-5-3 nothing flop. Bacala with the mom hand, and the turn will give mom themselves a top pair in the king 6 offsuit. 9-7 off from Wolf. Who's Wolf in the SB? Oh, did they maybe ask them to change it? Nice. They did ask them to change it. Got it. Paul 2 is now Wolf. I was like, what? Where did a Wolf come from? And then, whoa, what happened here? Okay, hold on a sec. So Steve called the turn bet, mom's turn 80 bet with the open ender. I didn't really see they had the 42 there. The open ender, and then river ace is going to make mom go check, and then Steve puts out the 250, bro. That's a big bet from Steve. But, like, what hands do they have here? Honestly, the real threat wouldn't be 4 deuce. Like, in my brain, it'd be more like 5 ace, 8 ace, ace 3, potentially the ace and the 3 of hearts, you know, like ace 3 of hearts, 8 ace of hearts. Just a raw ace of hearts, probably not betting here that big. So pretty polarized situation. And then of course, I guess 4-2 does exist, but it's just, I think the ace X hands are more what I'm concerned about. But I guess 4-2 makes a lot of sense too. You know, 42 suited, just what Steve has does in fact make sense. But I would be more like, oh my God, like ace 5 or ace 8. I think mom's thinking the same thing. Nice hand from Steve. Very kind of him to show. All right, next hand. Wow, whole lot of nothing. These garbage hands are always hilarious because sometimes they actually do turn into something. So Paul 2 is going to raise up. Sorry, Wolf will raise. I'll try to use the name that's on screen. And then Bacala is going to call it the 87 suited, huh? 76 versus 87. And Wolf with the aggression will take it down on the ace king high board. 8-8 from Wolf now. Mom with the ace 8 on the button is going to probably contest. Paul in his new seat with the 10-9 offsuit. Bacala with the jack 9 suited. Bacala's stack's getting pretty small, only 120 behind. Sonny with the 10-6 off also comes along. 6-5-3 flop is going to give them the top pair decent kicker, but Wolf does have the best hand right now with the 8-8. 6-4 from Sticky Steve is going to stick around. Nothing changes on a Queen of Hearts turn. It might slow the betting down a little bit, but Wolf is an aggressive player, man. Just like that 9-9 from before, they're not letting this. They didn't let the ace high board stop them. They're not letting this Queen on the turn stop them. And now Sticky Steve with the pair and open ender doesn't look like he really wants to fold, and he does let it go. Did not look like he wanted to fold, but he does let it go. All right, 6-handed action. Wolf with the ace-4, Bacala with the king-10, and Sticky Steve's going to come along with the 94 offsuit. All right, that's extra sticky. Bacala flops top pair, good kicker. Wolf with the bottom pair. I'm sorry, Steve as well with the bottom pair. And Wolf now with the nut flush draw to go with their bottom pair. They're definitely calling this, if not raising, because we've seen them put out the aggressive play before. So if they wanted to like turn their ace-high draw into some kind of bluff right there, I wouldn't have been surprised. Bacala goes for the check now. Oh, Bacala goes for the all-in. My bad. I saw them just kind of like throw their hand out there. I thought that was a check. So Wolf can't really call here. But if Bacala checked, I wonder if Wolf would have bet. I mean, once again, I kind of forgot, even though I said at the beginning of the hand, but Bacala's getting very short stacked. So hard to bluff in the end there in situations like that. But Wolf has shown themselves to be a relatively aggressive player, so I wouldn't put it past them. Okay, we've got 6 ways going to the flop. Is this a straddled hand, probably? That makes the most sense for it to be a $60 pot. And a queen 8-5-3 board. I see 8-3 in Steve's hand here. It's not too shabby. Way to pick up a little pot here with a kind of a garbage hand. No one else really has anything to contend with, and Steve will take it down. Nice hand. All right, we've got king 10 offsuit for Steve. They're going to just, okay, I was gonna say they're gonna raise to 15. Wolf will call and Mom will call with a 96 off and ace 5 off respectively. 96 off is actually the best hand at the moment on the 6-8 deuce flush draw with the 8 turn, and it's gonna go probably check bet. I was gonna say full, but check bet call. Check bet. Oh, Mom called. Interesting. And bet call on the river. Mom with the extremely light lookup. Extremely light lookup. Kind of similar to how Wolf decided to look them up light the first time, just trying to see what this person's doing it with. Even though Mom's been at this table, Wolf is still a newer player to them, so they're just maybe speculating a little bit earlier on in their, play with them to just get a better picture, better idea of the full picture, I should say. The exact same thing that we were just talking about before, just kind of like reverse positions. All right, 4-way flop, ace 5-4 with a flush draw, but no one's got much of anything going on. Mom with the best hand, second pair, turns another ace and another flush draw. Now Mom with a pretty decent hand, honestly. Third ace on the river, but they check it down, weirdly enough. Passive Mom today. Yeah, interesting that they just don't go for value. But hey, we all have our different modes, I suppose. 5-handed. Paul with the ace-5 suited, Sonny with the king-10 suited here, Wolf with the pocket deuces, and Bacala in there with the 86 suited. We got a 4-way hand that's kind of like stopped by the queen 3. That's the showstopper there, no action. Wolf does bet at it though with the pocket deuces and takes it down. Nice hand by Wolf to just kind of stab at it with the likely best hand. Like someone has a 3, unlikely. Someone has, 3x. Someone has a queen x, unlikely. So deuces best hand, likely. Bets, takes it down. Very solid play. A few decent hands here. Paul with the a7 offsuit. Bacala with the king jack suited. Sonny in there with the queen 8 offsuit. But they're probably not going to call. Yeah, I was going to say. All right, heads up to the flop of ace queen 6. Gonna go probably bet, and then Bacala is gonna peel one. Okay, I expected Bacala to fold, honestly. They hit the river gutter, and they're gonna probably jam it in with the last of their stack. Or they're gonna go 3x. Now jam it in, just jam it in, and homie immediately folds. Wow, he didn't even think about it. I know I'm playing at 2x speed, but that was like really, really fast. Spades missed, but like, yeah, is Bacala really going to be jamming over you there with missed spades based on the way that we've seen them play so far? Like, even if you haven't been watching all the hands? Probably not. One big reason too, like that would lead me, say if I'm at the table here, it's like, well, you can just say that, because I'm here watching everything here, so it's easy for me to straight up lie if I wanted to, but the indicator I'll give you guys is just his passivity pre-flop. Like when you have people who are really commonly limping and calling and not raising before the flop, they usually are the same players who are going to kind of play pretty face up honest, maybe a couple moves here and there with the post flop nice hand by Wolf here taking down with the ace king. Paul didn't really have anything to pay him off with. They're not going to be the ones who are going to be like putting in huge raises and moves and this and that post flop. It's the ones who like put in big raises, who put in big 3 bets. Those are the ones who are going to really be fighting for the pots most of the time when you are on the turn in the river. So like because Bacala is the type of player who is going to be calling and open limping and then calling raises, I should say, more than raising themselves and 3 betting. That's like why I think that that the snap fold is actually really good. You know, it's very unlikely for them to show up there with the missed spades, which is like the only portion of a range that you can possibly even call against. We got a heads up flop here. Mom versus Paul. Paul checked back the flop. Mom's gonna bet into them on the turn, trying to pounce on that weakness. Paul called the turn, and they did not have to face a river bet from Mom. Mom just kind of gave it up. Once again, it is passive Mom today. Steve is stacking up, and it looks like cashing out, as we did see before Grace left. And once again, Steve and Grace are husband and wife. Therefore, when Grace leaves, it's probably not too unrealistic to think it's time for Steve to leave, because she probably wants to go home. So she was, she's not that kind of person who's like, hey, I'm gone, you're gone. But it's like, he did leave relatively shortly after she did. So that's just what it is. That's the married life. Double paired flop with a jack, 8-8 deuce on the river. No one's got any of that. Paul with the king high is going to take down this little limped pot here. We are now down to 5-handed action. A little nothing hand here for Bacala, unfortunately, with the flops trips top pair. Delete that. Okay, folks, so very rare audible for me, but just noticing like the vibe and the flow of the table and kind of like the dynamics of what's going on. It's been a very low energy day. It's once again the second 16-hour stream in a row. I'm gonna make a judgment call here, and we're actually gonna not finish the stream, and we're actually gonna probably cut it right around here. The reason why I'm doing this is because I just scrubbed through the rest of this particular stream, and this devolves into Mom. Like, it looks like Puerto is going to join in very shortly. So like, look, if you kind of like, here, I'm gonna pause here, just kind of like click down around. We're at the 5:14:50 mark. Just clicking around a little bit, you're gonna see that players are gonna leave relatively soon. So it's gonna get down to 3-handed. Then Puerto's gonna join in, but then someone else leaves, so it gets down to still 3-handed. Then Wolf leaves, and it goes down to just Mom and Puerto, and it stays Mom and Puerto, and they start playing 5-card heads up Omaha. They do that for like about 5 hours if you include this stream plus the final stream after that, making the full 16 hours. So this could be like, say we get like so ahead of ourselves, we are like crushing the content and we have every little thing done, we could go back and do this special episode someday. But right now, I'd rather do content that has more players at the table, more people that we're familiar with, more people that we can like show you guys the regulars, more people that I can give you my input on. It's like, okay, I know this person, I know that person, and then just straight up more that I can kind of benefit from, because like I'm not gonna get much out of watching these two dudes play like heads up 5-card. Like, I kind of want to benefit a little bit too, like from what I'm trying to learn about the way that these games generally play. I'm trying to kind of like get myself caught up to speed, because everyone who plays in these games is just like more experienced in them than I am for the most part when you consider the regulars. So for now, and also like, what are you guys going to get out of this? How to play Puerto heads up, for 5-card PLO. Okay, cool. Like, very interesting, game, I'm sure. Like, I bet Mom does a ton of crazy stuff. I bet Puerto does a bunch of crazy stuff, but there's nothing that I really feel like is of value to go through 5 full hours worth, and then to get there is going to take us another like hour or so worth of footage. So we are going to pause this here. We got Mom versus Puerto. They're playing 2040 as well. 2040 5-card Omaha. I'm sure this is some crazy action, but I'm going to let's watch one hand. Puerto's got the ace top set. Oh my god, gonna probably bet. Takes it down. Man, they got using that big button. Why not just like put it? Whatever. Who cares? Let them do their thing. But this is a very cool thing that they did. I just don't feel like it's of enough value for me to cover it for myself and for you guys. Full-handed table. Okay, we got it. And I feel like we kind of like squeezed as much juice as we can out of this particular fruit on a Sunday random public game stream. So that will be all for today. I'm going to try and do more streams that I've been in as well, but I'm going to still kind of like go in pace. For the most part, maybe. I don't know. It's like, I also don't want to let too much time pass between the streams that I've done so that I just straight up forget, So next stream, expect me to be in it. Okay. I'm going to definitely do that, because I do want to get caught back up. So I might jump around a little bit, this and that, but either way, we will be back here. Cut and Called episode 7 coming up with another Lucky Lady stream that I'll be playing in. And that's everything for today. Thank you all. Love you all. And we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.